Oh yeah, live. All right. So give it a minute here. Let a couple people come in the building. Uh, Good afternoon to you, awesome people. I hope you guys are safe with the hand sanitizers, your, your alcohol wipes, your bleach sprays, your Lysols, your AR-15s, your bullets, and all that stuff that comes along with that too, right? For civil unrest along with this virus. But no, all seriousness again, peace, power, and profit to you guys. Uncle Josh and Nail. As always, happy to be in the building, sharing some love with the family, going over the our current events as we always try to bring some kind of light to the to all this somewhat darkness and you know ambiguity in dealing with this virus. So as always, shout out and kudos to you guys who are weathering this storm, obviously along with myself and others who are putting in great practices to again do the right thing by your family, yourselves, and and pretty much the general public. So again, so kudos and shout outs to you guys if you are practicing safe habits. Social distancing, as they're saying, which is the hot topic of the day. Right, stand 3 feet away from people. In my case, I'm trying to stay 12 feet away if I can. But if you're going to be out there in the public, again, just do protect yourself and leave no moment to chance. So again, have your gloves on if necessary. If you're going to a very crowded place, have your N95 mask on if you're going to a crowded place. Don't care, don't worry about how people looking at you like you crazy. I guarantee they worry about their safety too, even if they're trying to act all tough and bad too. So do what you need to do to protect yourself. Right. So again, with that, that being said, again, we are in the building to discuss, like we always do, market awareness and also geopolitical, news that covers the market, pretty much that canvases the market, I should say. And so it's always important that we stay pretty much newsed up, so to speak, and especially when it breaks in a moment where it can shape the market and shift the markets, as we just witnessed. For some of you guys who have not seen it yet or witnessed it, uh, the House of Representatives just passed the stimulus bill, right? Some people call it the Trump check or Trump bill or the relief bill, however name you call it. It has just got passed, right? So it was pretty much near unanimous. You had one or two people pushing back, but that was that's gonna happen regardless, right? You got to have a little opposition there to make sure that everybody in on the same page, right? It's kind of like the movie Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby, right? His daddy, he always got to do something crazy, right, to mess up a good evening, a good night. You're just gonna have that, but nonetheless, it's passed, right? The stimulus bill is passed. All the perks, bells, and the whistles that some of you guys might have had questions about are now able to be read entirety. Now the bill is on its way to President Trump's desk to be signed, and I'm pretty sure he'll make a spectacle out of it. He got to get some kudos out of it too. So they'll probably do some kind of fancy press release, special briefing with him sitting down, signing it, making it. It's a monumental moment in terms of a greatest, what they call a socialist relief package that ever went forth in American history, which is odd and crazy because it shouldn't even garner all this kind of attention because it's you guys' money, right? Let's keep it 100. It's you guys' money, right? The taxpayers and the people who really work to make this country what it is, right? It's those honest corporations out there. Keyword: honest corporations out there, people who really do right, and that's to try to make sure to make everybody's life a little bit more easy and palatable in this country. So again, shout out to you guys. That's who really are the MVP of this moment, because again, it's your money. It's not like it just appeared out of nowhere, which obviously it is. They're gonna print it digitally, but it's still your money that you pay into towards taxes and this, that, and third. And you should have had your checks literally weeks ago, right? So we're not gonna again give people praises and standing ovation for doing the work they should be doing anyway, right? That's what they tell you, right? When you're going through your hardships, you should have money put away for a rainy day. And they tell you all those things like that, but when it comes to again, as we know, the stock market, that conversation is not had. Instant liquidity, instant repo, reverse operations, right? Instant QE, which we're in now, definitely QE4, right? Just dumping money into the markets. and while Main Street sitting around trying to figure out what's going to happen, right? So again, with that being said, we're going to discuss it. Here's the link if you guys do want to come on the back panel and discuss it. You guys pretty much know how I am. I'm always trying to get people on, sharing in the wealth of the knowledge. It's important. Again, I see a few people that came in the house. What's going on over Jalil? What's going on, family? What's going on over Gordon? Good to see you, family. And you've been rocking out. I've been hearing you've been rocking out, man. I'm always happy to see that you're always expanding and doing great things and taking it to the next level. So peace, power, and profit to you, Over. Hey, what's going on, family? Everything's monetizable. As always, peace, power, and profit to you as well, family. Good to have you guys in the building, man. Just sharing a little bit of this, a little bit of this afternoon, in essence to what the market is doing. I'm pretty sure if you guys haven't seen, there was a nice little rally in the S&P 500 when the bill actually got passed. It wasn't, staggering, but it did gap up. It gapped up a little bit, went up there and tested that level around about 257, and then it rolled back over. And that's, after it was, trending down there, the VWAP around 253.76, obviously getting ready to break that VWAP, which would have been critical, in my opinion, just for us, downward momentum. I still believe he's going to go back and probably test it before the day over with. It's a weekend. I mean, regardless of the fact that it's kind of like a buy the rumor, sell the news event, that's basically this whole entire week of market gains was based upon what? Buy the rumor. And more importantly, the Fed's trying to get the market up off the lows, right? They needed the market off that 220 handle because it could have really spiraled out of control, once it broke below that, that threshold into the teens. And so it was a very, very calculated, I would say, an arrangement, so to speak, for the Federal Reserve to unload, pretty much everything they had in the arsenal, with the agreements of colluding with the banks. And I say colluding, I obviously know is a negative word, but getting the banks and everybody kind of, adopt the same mentality and not sell into the market with all this money that they're going to drop into it to get the market off the lows. And so roughly we had well over, near 3,000 to 4,000, near 4,000 point gain in the market this entire week, off pretty much a lot of, hopium. Just to be honest, because there's nothing in terms of certainty that the market is reveling behind to, be up this much, knowing that we're just getting started with this coronavirus. All right. And that's not to incite panic or fear. It's just what it is. The reality of things is that nature has a way of taking its time. And no matter what you try to throw at it, especially money ain't enough to stop it. And that's what they're trying to do, because obviously we don't have a vaccine. Obviously we don't have any strength and medication that we can just, say this is going to really, tamper this thing. We just got to go through that natural progression. Hope we come out on the other end of it healthy. Right. And so right now, obviously, health is the greatest conversation piece out there. Above all things, your health is much more important than a stock. Right. It's much more important than a stock. And that's also being challenged right now, too, because there are people who are claiming otherwise. Right. That you should sacrifice. Right. Whether you get sick and die, whatever, they want you to sacrifice. Right. They want you to sacrifice your grandmothers and your grandfathers, your elderly uncles and elderly aunties and so forth, your elderly friends, whomever. They want you to sacrifice those people for the greater good of the stock market. Let's keep it 100. So again, we speak, unfiltered truth over here. We keep it relative to the value of the market, obviously, but beyond that, that's what is starting to circulate too in some ways, where I'm seeing people, politicians too. It's crazy, representatives and all kind of people of that nature, really getting behind this whole get back to work theory. And we're looking at places like New York, like, are you serious? Right, go back to work where? Obviously, New York's not going back to work. We get it, but again, they still want other states to, who are somewhat not as ravaged by this virus, to go back to work. Like seriously. So they're not accounting for the people who will be leaving up out of New York, up out of New Jersey, places that are hot and ravaged right now, and Michigan starting to pick up now. I saw something today where they were talking about Detroit and Chicago are probably going to be the next two hot spots to get hit hard. So they already started trying to, they're starting to brace for it in those areas, which we already know the metropolitan type cities around the country are going to be the first ones that really be under that kind of pressure, right? We obviously found out that our healthcare system is pretty much not who they say they are. They're not who they say they are, right? And because of that, again, we are stuck in a position where we're being exposed, right? We're not some of this kind of movie spectacle based reality where, you know, America is just like the greatest thing ever since sliced bread. It could be better than some other places, granted. However, but all the stuff that we bragged about on the average daily basis turned out to be a whole lot of baloney, right? That's just the facts. No test kits, no ability to kind of get it on top of this stuff early, which we had the intel that gave us the ability to get on top of it, and we chose to spin our wheels in the sand and twiddle our thumbs and worry about, trying to save the stock market again over people's ability to, to be protected. Again, no ventilators, no PPE gowns and masks and things of that nature. The whole reality, it just sucks, right? It just sucks, right? And it's just a tragic scenario. I don't care who you are, if you for a certain person or you're not a whatever. But I know, far as my household, I'm not going to play the radio. I'm not even going to play the game with anybody coming to me with that stupidness. Talking about, well, we're doing the best we can when we had ability to get on top of this a heck of a lot earlier, right? And I'm strictly saying that as a person who served in the service and know what it's like to be prepared, right? We call preparation readiness, right? That's one of the key mandates in terms of being hurrying up and waiting. Always be prepared, basically, at the end of the day, right? And so again, they chose to do the latter, and now they want to want people to feel sorry, empathy for them, and give them credit for something that they should have done, literally weeks ago, months ago to be exact. From listening to the intel that came out that they kind of knew it was coming. All right, but either way, we're here now. Far as us, the individuals, it's pretty much in our best interest to make sure we're doing what we can to help one another if we can. Being resourceful, basically, with people around you that really are in the thick of this thing, and not being sheltered, in DC and sheltered in all the other places where somebody, again, the idiotic, politicians sitting around, looking like they, just reinvented the wheel just because they signed the bill of your money and held it up as if they did you a favor. It's your money. Let's not get that twisted again. It's your money. So again, they didn't have no problems passing off to big corporations or indirectly by pumping it into the stock market, which got some of these stocks that were garbage anyway off the lows when they should be crashing anyway because they have bad business practices, right? So they get an unlimited golden parachute no matter what, and they look at you like, well, hey, you got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right? That kind of reality. So it's funny how that works, right? So as you can see here again, just pull up the S&P 500 here. Like I was saying, you can obviously see a big rounded, bold, pattern here going on with the S&P 500. This is them obviously trying to keep this market up at a point where it doesn't go back below that 250 handle, which is obviously critical from a psychological perspective. It's rather in their best interest. When I say them, obviously the Feds and the bankers and whoever who's trying to again state that false narrative that we're actually not in a bear market. We do, even though we are in what they call a recession, and they try to even minimize that like it's some kind of form of a level to a recession. No, a recession is a recession. Well, it's kind of like a recession. You heard Jerome Powell saying that kind of like the other day. A little recession. They're trying to use that again. Y'all know the terminology. It's the hustle, right? As if we just gonna come out of it, next month, right, or the next fiscal quarter, right? Going into Q2, finna be man, it's gonna get ramped up in Q2, right? And so all these companies who are now that are dropping earnings, and they're kind of beaten based upon the data that came in right before the virus really set in America, in America to that degree. They kind of skated in, but this next quarter coming, again, I don't mean to be Dr. Doom, don't doom and gloom, but we do deal in reality as investors and traders, so we discuss it all. Well, we already know these companies finna be legend, right? They're finna get beat down, and so again, what we're expecting is that they're going to try to do everything that they possibly can to bake these numbers. All right, when I say bake it in, they're going to try to find a way to ease the market volatility. So when people like Apple, right, and let's say people like these manufacturer-based companies too, that's really going to be in trouble, like the car industry and Tesla, drop their numbers because you obviously know they're not going to be able to meet their production mandates. It's going to be ratchet in the market, right? Caterpillar and John Deere and all those types, right? It's going to be ratchet in the market, right? Some of those big Dow components and those big, even some of those big tech components, right? The XLK, if you're trading spiders for as technology sector, right? Or just the QQQs, right? These stocks are going to be heavily, heavily under pressure, right? The same way we saw the job numbers came out yesterday, right? They were planning for around about 1 million, and they said they tried to be loose about it, say millions, but we know they're saying, thinking it was going to be around about 1 million people. 1 million. I'm not saying this 1 million. Well, it turned out to be 3 million. 3 million. I mean, you guys saw the data. What did the market do? It skyrocketed. Yeah, any person in their right mind offers any value of balance in terms of data that would cause, some kind of form of reality where people like, whoa, okay, it's going to get worse from here because that ain't just, that's not a one-off. And if you think that people who filed for unemployment this past week, and obviously totaled that 0.3 million people, is going to lessen any more going in the next week, then, hey, they say I got a, I got a golden elephant statue, a golden elephant statue to sell you, right? A 3-ton golden elephant, to sell you, right? But either way, for us, again, you just gotta learn how to filter through the data, filter through all the chatter, all the kind of talking points. You got to stay obviously, disciplined to the trend of the market. If it's spiking up because they want to spike it up, don't try to be a contrarian trader. We're not in assets that that are heavily, weighted and pushing to the upside. Don't try to fight those trends. Right? Stay within your your comfort zone, and trade this market as it presents itself, thoroughly and properly for you. Right. And so again, that way we don't find ourselves, you know, trying to, again, like I use the analogy, trying to be Hollywood Co. Right. Think you the baddest thing on the block. Right. You can't stop what's coming, so to speak, down the pipeline. Right. We can only be prepared, and we can only be, honest with ourselves to the degree we're not actually just wasting money or wasting trades just because you feel like the market should be a lot further down, right? Because at the end of the day, again, there's a lot of pension money that's wrapped up into this, and we understand how that works, right? But they understand the risk too, right? No one gets a pass, right? And it's weird too, because in a moment where we're seeing all this money coming into the market and actually now finna go to Main Street for a change, right? They actually finna do something for Main Street, right? It's just one of those moments where you have to be, again, cognizant of the idea that, it's all because there's some kind of political agenda behind it, regardless of the fact you think people doing this out of goodness of their heart. Because again, I always say this here: if that was the case, y'all would have received a check literally weeks ago, right? Before New York, obviously now registering well over about 50, 60,000 people with this virus, and it's only going to spread. Hey, what's going on, family? Teague Evans, as always, family. What's going on, family? Jacob, what's going on, Jacob? What's going on, bro? Peace, power, and profit to you, family. Again, just doing like a little back of the day, little live stream here again, just trying to put this stuff into context. We always have our own very ideologies and opinions and how we value the market and look at it. And for me, again, it's like anything. I always try to be thought provoking, right? Thought provoking value to make us all really critically think about what's surrounding us, right? Especially again as investors, as traders, we are in a unique profession, right? Because we know there's people sitting around right now at home with no income coming in. They got furloughed, laid off, or whatever the case. They're sitting around waiting on the stimulus check. All that they had in terms of savings or debt, in terms of credit card, they're even afraid to spend that, but they got to buy their essentials, right? So they're at a point now where they're starting to liquidate some of their their emergency money, and there's really no true mandated date in sight when they might be returned, or even start to go look for another job, so to speak. So you think about that for a moment, right? But you look at the stock market, it would be like it's just business as usual. Even though we know we came off about 30-something points off the top, especially the Dow and the S&P 500. But you got people who were bought in at those same levels around 260, 250, way back in just, we were talking about that on the last live stream I did, I believe, or maybe two previous ones before this one. But either way, where all the market did just return back to a point where we were still, on an incline coming into 2018 before we had that massive sell-off around, going into Christmas time, with the Dow drop over 1,000 points, which seemed, back then was just like, man, this is like crazy. The sky's falling. But what we've witnessed since then, and again, at that moment, the market was trending around about 260, 250. It was peaking up right near 300 before it pulled back. But again, thinking about where we came from to where we are now, we're just back at a critical point again where, we just kind of like in a reset moment with all that melting up and that we did in all 2019, which was based upon a whole lot of just market, call it what it is. It was just a whole lot of market punking, right? A whole lot of market punking. Hey, what's going on, Eva Camille? Good to have you in the building, sister.
Hey.
Good to
Peace and blessings.
family. Peace and blessing, guys. Like I said before, you guys, you already know how I am. There's the link, guys. You want to come on, you want to discuss this stuff, you want to build with the family, you want to share your perspective, you want to share your chart, share your trades. Again, talk about the virus, talk about your neck of the woods, what's going on for us is the shutdown and what the supplies looking like. Do you see any kind of form of preventive maintenance happening around your city? Are they spraying the area down, or you just they just got people off the streets? And so either way, again, this is an eye opener on an epic level, where again we walk around. We walked around with the mentality that we were just the best thing since sliced bread. And now you got jokers around here, like they're scrambling, right? They're scrambling like mosquitoes, rats, and roaches, and everything else, trying to figure out what to do, right? And those who are trying to defy the orders of being protected, well, those are the ones who are probably going to end up catching this virus and potentially spreading it to more people who are more vulnerable to it, right? And that's what's the part as far as me, to where I kind of feel like, man, this is a little bit too out of control for us, to different talking points that you're getting out of the White House, and I'm saying that in terms of Trump because he wants people to go back to work. We get it, right? But I don't get it. Let me say that. So, but yet still, again, we got places who are still starting. Their numbers are starting to multiply now, not just add up, but they're starting to multiply now. All right, so we're not nowhere near the peak of this. We're just getting started. And that's the part about it just boils my blood to think that these people want you back to work by a week or so, week from now. And people who still have the virus, who hadn't even been tested yet, what are they doing right now? They're spreading it to others, involuntarily. But again, just from the idea that they bred this false sense of, again, hope to people to think that it's just not that big of a deal. Like they kept saying early on, it's just a regular flu. It'll pass before you know it. The heat itself is going to kill it. I mean, y'all heard all the stuff. I ain't just making it up, right? Like as the saying goes, you couldn't make this stuff up, bro. You couldn't make this stuff up, right? So again, we saw a market and the algos. The algos all had no emotion, right? That's one time the algos got it right. And a lot of people say, well, why would you say that? Because who wants to see the market crash? Isn't that like anti-American? Like that's the dumbest thing ever, right? There's no stock trader in down there in the money pit, whatever it is, that's even making that silly statement like this is for God and country to run the market fire like a bubble. These people only care about their bank accounts, because I guarantee you, none of them donating that money that they made in this massive melt up, coming out of 2018, especially in 2019, when the market just went on a straight line, literally almost like a straight line, unheard of, no pullbacks dang there whatsoever, and melted up all these new highs on no organic growth. None of those guys are running to donate some of their money to people who are less than fortunate right now. None of them. I see CEOs trying to build mass. Yeah, they still getting the bag from that. Right? They ain't doing that out of charity. Right? I don't see none of those guys running to give money to again people down on Skid Row right now, or the homeless people in Washington. Whether you say that's that's the people that's going through that, that's a prerogative. They put themselves in that position or not. But they still want you to use that God and country crap, right? So that's why I say it's conflicting. And so the market, again, going back to the market again, strictly market here, what we're seeing here, even with that pullback, going back here, and I was breaking this down the other day, what do you see here? The market's sitting there around about 290 near the peak, 290 some change before it pulled back, and then we hit this channel here, right? I had this stuff up here way back. Y'all know, man, my charts go way back. I have this data points when I've been chronologizing the market as it's been going year after year after year, right? As a way to kind of have my notes, right? These are my little notes. But again, like I was saying the other day, all we did was we came back to a point where we were at that point where we was at the inverse head and shoulders, where the market pulled back obviously massively down into that December, massive sell-off, December 26th and whatever, basically December 21st, all that area. And the market rebounded. So we just basically went right back to where we were before we had that, the ugly pull-off based on the tariff and trade war issue, right? We're not back in that 270 range, but they're definitely trying to get it back above that range. So roughly, we're sitting around this area here, which is a point of resistance, right? Literally on this 262, 261. I was telling somebody the other day, right? As always, I'm always trying to share with a little bit of knowledge if I can, right? But I was telling somebody the other day when the market was melting up, right? I said, you know what? That 260 handle, that's going to be a major point of resistance. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. And lo and behold, even though the market spiked up a little bit after hours and went up and hit that 261, 262, it rolled right back over. And you could say, okay, well, we had a a moment where the market was already extended going into the to today, into this sign of this trade, not necessarily trade, excuse me, this coronavirus relief bill, and the market just had to kind of pull back. But either way, we know at just going back looking at the previous chart here, roughly here 262.62, that's a major point of resistance after we broke that point, because you got to sitting around this point here, you're sitting on around this point right here, right? So obviously trying to ping back up against it to kind of push a little higher and get back into all this kind of money here. There's anybody that's still left in the market that was trading the market, throughout this tenure here, especially these people up here. If there's any people still sitting up here, you already know how they feeling right now. You already know how they feeling right now, right? Again, so they feel like the market could do no wrong, so they had no ability to hedge. A lot of people just got caught slipping.
Yeah, they got trapped.
Yeah, they got trapped. And unfortunate too, because again, we're talking about being able to be properly positioned in the market. When we always speak about that, we're talking about what? Hedge yourself, especially if you got long-term money out there that's sitting and working as opposed to day trading it. You got to watch it, right?
Right.
You've been fooled out to watch your money, so a lot of people got caught, and they feeling it right now. You don't wish bad on nobody, but y'all know this is the industry where, again, you got to leave your personal feelings outside on the doorstep before you walk into that your computer, right?
Yeah, that's a heck of a bull trap.
Yeah,
Ooh,
so
that's vicious.
yeah, so it took literally all of 2019 to melt the market up the way it did. Go back again, we spoke about that. Just to be, correct, accurately correct in terms of the data and how the market melted up, right? Again, we came from that same point I was just talking about, roughly 260. Here's the data right here. I mean, again, not making it up. We came from that 250, 240. Obviously, we went a little lower, but that V-shaped recovery coming into January when we really bounced out, we bounced out around 260, 261. As you can see here, we had almost like a little flat top breakout almost, to a degree here, and it just spazzed out from that point and looked back. It didn't even backfill this area. That lets you know that at that point, the Federal Reserve and those who were obviously in charge of keeping people enthusiastic about the market, it was on their post. And we rarely had any kind of major pullbacks besides the one we had here coming into this portion here. And that was based upon some news, probably, I'm pretty sure, trade war data that caused that. And again, probably here. But outside of that, what do you have here? Again, a straight line. That is unheard of here, right? And so the anti-aspect of that is what we got here with this sell-off here, this massive sell-off here due to the coronavirus, where equity, holdings and fund managers and everybody else, just began to liquidate. And the algo selling into it. So the same way I was speaking about it the other day on the live stream we did, and I said, you know what, this is a point of resistance. Don't get fooled. This 261, 262, that's a point of resistance. What do we have here? We have the 20-day moving average here, and this is the daily chart on an annual basis. So this is a weighted average based upon like 52 weeks back or however. That's your resistance. The market went up and pinged up against it, as you can see here, right? As you can see here, and did what? Got rejected. That ain't rocket science. That's just being paying attention to your indicators. And so what happened then today? Obviously, guess what? Poof. We right back down, right? We're right back down, right? Obviously, V-shaped recovery. Obviously, inorganic. Ain't no such thing as a V-shape ebb and flow of any kind of market. But we know we got a lot of that in 2019. But that's still not natural, no matter how you look at it. For all those people who buy the dippers, think that's natural. Don't get caught always, banking on that. That's just not a good strategy. But nonetheless, again, we're here, right? And we're nowhere near in the all clear concerning this virus. Just my opinion. Some of you guys may think different. Again, I respect your opinion. But again, I'm still gonna make sure I keep my guards up, as they say in the boxing world. Protect yourself at all times.
Right. Protect your neck.
Protect your neck, right? Your back in the military term, protect your 6. Like I was saying yesterday, protect your 3 and your 9 too, right? And other aspects of the clock too, if you have to, right? Because these people, when I say these people, again, they pretty much got your livelihood, in a chokehold, right? Because there's nothing you can do, right? If there ain't no work can happen, ain't no businesses open, ain't no machines firing up, what you gonna do? Literally, right? So you basically now are at the beck and call of the government, truly at that point now.
Right.
There's nothing you can do, right? So if you got some money put away for a rainy day, you got some gold and silver stashed away, right? Or in our case, we have the greatest thing ever. What do we have? The
The
ability to get
market.
in the market. We got the ability to get into this market, right? And like I was saying to somebody the other day, this man, you got people blowing you up now to probably get you to teach them how to trade now. Man, what's about that trading stuff y'all was talking about, man? Can you show me that again? Can you explain that to me a little bit, man? And so, we don't, make fun of it because like we welcome it, right? We want people to get excited about other ways to find supplemental income. So we welcome it. So we're not acting like we got something and everybody else got nothing and we just trying to hoard it to ourselves. That's not how this works, right? It truly doesn't work that way, right? Because we get better when we share it with others. That's the great thing about this because we know that Wall Street is going to be protected. We know people sitting on Capitol Hill right now, they're safe, right? But the average people who are again paycheck to paycheck or going through an aspect where they might have been just starting to get on their feet. Now that all that stuff just been put on hold, right? And so what little money they got that they can't spend, a lot the way they normally would, they got to make a decision. Do they just kind of piece it out till they go completely empty, or do
Right.
they find other ways to put that money to work so it can still continue to grow a little bit, through all this uncertainty? See what I'm saying? And so, to me, I just feel like it's just, it's just one of those moments where, what we have in terms of this craft, this skill set, you need to be going to people and say, hey, man, hey, you might want to start looking into this. You might want to start looking into this, right? So we can at least have ability to kind of get you going, even if you're not even at a point where you're just going full throttle and trading real money, but get the lessons in now. So when the next rainy day comes, and it's going to come at some point, you'll be prepared to have another aspect of being able to kind of fall back on. Right. So with that being
Yes.
said, again, just going over the mark like I was saying before. So Sister Camille, I know you again up there in the greater New York area, and we know what's happening right now in the state of New York. How are you holding up there? How's everything going your way?
Well, I'm okay. We're doing all right here. But I mean, I haven't checked the stats today, but I know late last night when I was trading the London session, I saw that New York was in the lead now. Well, United States is in the lead as far as the spreading of the virus, and
Right,
New York is definitely the leader in the United States. So, and it doubled within 2 days. So
right.
what are we at? 94,000 now. So we're in the lead.
Yeah, we actually hit that epicenter area about a day and a half ago, and it was already
Right.
projected that we were going to surpass the world, where we were going to be the new epicenter of this new virus. Only because, again, and it's sad. I hate to even say that, but because the fact that we were spinning our wheels, trying to downplay. We kept trying to downplay it, right? Capitalism at its
Right.
finest. Get back to work. It ain't that big of a deal. It's just a flu. Take some vitamin C and man up and woman up, right? That kind of mentality, right? Idiots calling those kind of shots over your livelihood, and now you got a country, in terms of America now, is being ravished. And again, whether we use these kind of heightened adjective words or whatever to kind of incite the kind of level of care that we need to be paying attention to, because again, it wouldn't necessarily be at this level had we got on top of it earlier, which we had the ability to do. Just
Well,
just
yeah,
my opinion.
they were going to milk it as long as they could
Right, and delaying
because
it, and
they knew that once they had to shut down businesses that that was going to cost them some money. So they milked it until they had no choice but to start shutting it down.
right,
And,
and just like I was saying yesterday when I was pulling up this chart, going over it last night. Man, you look at this thing, man. Look, I mean, like some serious measles going on right now, like a measles
right.
outbreak. All them red dots. I mean, look at New York. I mean, those are big circles,
Yeah, New
and
York is.
compared to the
I be staying inside. I ain't been outside. I don't leave my yard really unless just I had to go to the supermarket yesterday to get some kale. But I got on gloves and the whole nine. I
right,
don't get close to nobody. I be holding my breath when I walk past people. If I
right.
Because I haven't gotten the
Thought I was the
mask
only
yet.
one.
I couldn't get one. I'm like, yo.
I mean, I got the mask, but still, I don't even with the mask on. I'm still like, bruh, you a little too close, bro.
Yeah, man. Some
Give
people
it.
I had to tell some people at the supermarket. I was like, yo, could you mind stepping back.
Give me 50 feet,
So
bro. Give me 50 feet. And just like to say,
word,
do like, give me 50 feet.
step back, Andy. I put my shopping cart in between them.
Right.
It's like they don't get it. It's like, do you know what's going on here?
It's
So people
serious.
just like, it's like, wow. And they were threatening to take down, like there was like 88 parks in New York. They were going to take down the basketball rims because the parks were full.
Right. And you got, again, people still define the orders. I was speaking about that yesterday in terms of Chicago. They had the Chicago PD that went out and barricaded and blocked off a park because of the same thing. People out there still walking around the park, congregating and all kinds of stuff. They had to go run them people off the block, literally. Like, what are y'all doing? See, that's that false sense of, and that's, again, my opinion, that false sense of security that, again, people walk around here with, thinking just because this is the United States that, nothing like that could ever affect us, right? It can't rock us, right? And so we kind of become our own worst enemy. It's no excuse. There's no denying why this number here is 94,000 people infected. And China, where it started at, which it has more people than us, only got 81,000. We know them numbers might be wrong. They know more people got infected over there, probably, definitely. But still, and we haven't even tested, maybe, I want to say, a third of our population. Not even a third of our population ain't been tested yet.
Right.
That's the part about where I'm like, bro, y'all got to be kidding me. Y'all think y'all finna open this thing up, send people back to work, or go to be like Trump saying, go be sitting up in church, have these packed churches on Easter. And everybody there gonna be coughing and barking all over each other. Y'all gonna be catching, the coronavirus, Holy Ghost, playing around, right? You gonna be dancing, everything. You happy now? I'm trying to shake this virus off, bro. Right? Just
doing the Rona shout.
Yeah, doing the Rona shout. So again, just keeping it 100, man. We're not prepared, man. Just my opinion. I don't think we're ready.
We're not prepared because they had that all of a sudden to make all these masks and I think they are preparing the armory in Harlem.
National Guard definitely, and they got.
They had to, I mean, New York got a lot of resources, so it'll probably fare better than other cities. But
whoa! Have you been seeing the reports lately with Governor Cuomo?
What'd he say? I saw the last one.
Bro, New York
yesterday.
New York hurting. They hurting up this. I mean, in terms of resources that you guys need, like the ventilators. Like the one thing, obviously, he's really upset about him and Trump warring at this point.
Right. I'm just saying that they'll probably, as far as like the armories and all that kind of stuff that they're setting up, and the jab centers,
Right.
They got places like that they're working on, and he's on it as far as what the needs are, and as far as getting those ventilators, and so they're kind of like he's on it. That's I have to give it to Cuomo on this, and not my favorite politician in any respects on anything else, but he seems to really be
I give him credit. The stuff he's asking for, though, he's trying to get it from, again, the government, right? Or in terms of government, the federal arm of our nation, and they're pushing back. Again, you heard Trump telling the other day that you don't need all those ventilators. Like, dude, these people are overrun in the hospitals. How you telling me I don't need?
You got like need this? You got 18 million people in New York City.
As if this some kind of political chess match. No, we need those ventilators. Get those people those ventilators. And again, go look at Italy.
Yeah, they don't care if people drop dead. That's when they start seeing the bodies pile up, and that's what them armories and stuff are for. To the point where, you got certain places where they can start stacking up those bodies because it'll be too much for the funeral homes. You're not gonna be able to have funerals.
Right, they're gonna cremate a lot of bodies. Yeah.
It's already, it's already starting.
Right. So again, it just goes to show you, man, that again, you got these people out here, making life and death decisions over your life, literally. You got people doubling down on the idea that this is a godly country. You need to sacrifice your elderly people. I mean, literally, I don't know if y'all been seeing these news reels coming off, like Fox and CNN, other. You got full-fledged state-sponsored representatives going on live TV telling people we need to sacrifice our elderly just for the
yeah,
stock market.
that
For the
was
stock market.
disrespectful, man.
Bro, I ain't making this stuff up.
But check this out. That was some low life medieval stuff. But
Very low life.
But check this out. They just had one of the first cases of a teenager dying from it. So it's not just the elderly.
Right. Well, that's in the state.
The majority of people.
Right. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I mean to cut your wisdom, sis. Go ahead, sis. I'm sorry.
I was just saying that the majority of these cases are people 20 to 44.
Right. And that's not even kind of ones again that perished over there in Europe. You had one that died in Spain. You had one that a young girl died in Europe, inner Europe. I think somebody a younger person died in near the Italy area. Then we didn't even talk about these young healthy doctors that are dying. Young healthy doctors are dying.
Right.
The ones that are on the front line, they healthy because y'all know doctors try to go out their way to stay healthy, right? It's a part of the professional, mandate that to a degree that's always try to be in the best health you possibly can because you're dealing with pathogens and viruses and tuberculosis people coming in, hepatitis people coming in. You know what I'm saying? Just to deal with that. And these people like, mid 30s, early 30s, some of them in the late 20s and close to their 40s. That's still healthy. And these people perishing. So you ain't finna convince me. And they got a way lot better diet than a lot of these people that's 20 years old, 22 years old, that eating garbage all day, McDonald's and garbage junk all day. You know what I'm saying? And smoking and drugging.
Yeah, your health, your your immune system. You got. Like the Bronx has one of the highest rates of asthma. So
right.
This is a disease that affects your breathing.
Right, respiratory. It's definitely a respiratory based. Hey, what's going on, brother? Mark? Sorry about this. Got coming back to see you guys in the back chat getting in. Yeah, it affects your your respiratory system.
Yeah.
Right. Again, we talk about this is your life. This is your
people like, with diabetes and high blood pressure and
right.
Yes. So
yeah. Again, it's staggering, and you're just looking at going at off this chart here. Again, this John Hopkins site here. Pretty much the coronavirus, global scale site that everybody's using as a more factual site to track the numbers. Again, New York is already at 365 people dead, and they got confirmed cases in New York. Again, wells in the tens of thousands now. They are the 100% epicenter of the world right now in terms of confirmed cases in one little megatropolis little city. As dense as it is, but again, like I was saying yesterday, you had cities and provinces that's in China that are way more dense than New York. And they didn't have that kind of level of contagion and outbreak because the Chinese government was doing what? Forcing their citizens to stay inside. Y'all saw those little videos popping up. They was going to people's houses, taping their doors shut. They were beating them back into the house. Beating them back in the house. Get back in there with that virus. Don't come out here with that Rona. Right? Call it what you want. But it helped keep the containment or the spread from getting out of control.
Exactly.
Because people just still want to be, be people. You got people just hard-headed. Yeah, that's basically what it is, to be honest.
Selfish.
They want to be selfish. And that's so, again, you contain it by being able to take those drastic measures. Sometimes people say, well, that's heinous. No, it's not. You're trying to keep more people from dying. Sometimes you got to, again, shut up and just ride it out. That kind of mentality.
I couldn't tell you the amount of grown people I know whining about being bored. I was like, man, I got plenty to do in my house.
Plenty to do. This is right up my alley anyway. I ain't missing a beat.
Exactly.
I ain't skipping a beat. This daily, this business as usual for me. I'm running screens and right.
For nobody, no way.
Right, unless I'm running some packages off, taking care of my other business that I own, clients and stuff like that. Other than that, this business as usual for me. I live a very sedentary life, and I'm so proud. I'm super proud because again, in this moment, I'm utilizing my time to better, my position, right, for my future generation. Studying. I'm studying. Right. You see what I'm saying? Right. So for a lot of us, again, it ain't that. Hey, this run it. Kind of reality, run it. So we ain't missing no sleep. So again, just kind of going over what we're saying. So you got people out here who double it down, with this whole get back to work rhetoric. I don't know if y'all seen the Republican lieutenant governor. What was the guy out of Texas, right? Dan Patrick. Did y'all see his soundbite? Anybody see that guy soundbite the other day?
It was. I watched a whole bunch of news. Yeah, I think I did see him.
That was the double down, the double down Debbie dude that was going on with the Trump saying get back to work and that we need to sacrifice our elderly people.
Oh no! Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
If they
I was
die,
like,
they
what
did
did
it
he
for
say
God and country. He literally said if they die, they're doing it for the economy. The economy, meaning the
that? The
stock market.
economy.
Let's not even play no game. Y'all know we don't play no games over here, so don't expect me to sit here and sugarcoat nothing. Right? You on the wrong channel. You expect me to sugarcoat anything. Right? He doubled down on that and said that so
Oh,
what? Go ahead. I'm
Oh, I'm
sorry.
sorry, cut your bill. Go ahead, go ahead.
No, it was just stagnant. Matter of fact, I'm gonna play the sound bite. I
I
don't
was
even want to
saying,
show the
I hope he be the one to get it.
right. You know what I'm saying? Just playing
I
around.
hope you get it.
You know what I'm saying? Just wishing ill on people, grandmothers and granddad. Like you. I mean, just think about that. You know what I'm saying? Just outright, just like your granddaddy and your grandmother are indispensable. Let them ride. You know what I'm saying?
And these are the
Or
people
they're
in
expendable. Excuse me.
charge of our country. Like, I will never understand that.
Right. That's the scary part. That's the part. Like, okay, these are people voted in office and got people out there looking crazy. Right. So let me run this sound by right here. Let me roll that beam footage. Right. Because again, sometimes you got to, a lot of people out here probably like, man, it ain't happening. You always gonna find those kind of people like that, right? Man,
Yeah, there's a
hey, what's
lot
going
of
on,
people
family?
like that. I
CG3, I
can't
see you
believe
done
it.
popped in the building. Good to see you, family. Peace, power, and profit to you, right? Yeah, you probably will get. I hope he don't get reelected. But yeah, all right. So I'm gonna run this beam for this year, so y'all can hear this ignoramus here. Uh, Let me know if y'all can hear this here. All right. Up to me and said, Tucker, no one reached out to me. Can y'all hear it? Can y'all hear it loud and clear?
Yes.
Okay. And said, as a senior citizen, are you willing to take a chance on your survival in exchange for keeping the America that all America loves for your children and grandchildren? And if that's the exchange, I'm all in. And that doesn't make me noble or brave or anything like that. I just think there are lots of grandparents out there in this country, like me. I have 6 grandchildren, that what we all care about and what we love more than anything are those children. And I want to, live smart and see through this, but I don't want the whole country to be sacrificed. And that's what I see. I've talked to hundreds of people, Tucker, and just in the last week, and making calls all the time, and everyone says pretty much the same thing. That we can't lose our whole country. We're having an economic collapse. I'm also a small businessman. I understand it. And I talk with business people all the time, Tucker. And my heart is lifted tonight by what I heard the president say, because we can do more than one thing at a time. We can do 2 things. So, my message is that let's get back to work. Let's get back to living. Let's be smart about it. And those of us who are 70 plus, we'll take care of ourselves, but don't sacrifice the country. Don't do that. Don't ruin. So you're basically saying that this disease could take your life, but that's not the scariest thing to you. There's something that would be worse than dying. Yeah. Tell you what, Republicans sure have. So I'm gonna pause it right there. Now y'all heard that. Not my words, his words. Now, if I was to ask you guys that's watching in the back chat, that's on the panel right now, what does it mean? The things that he said, what does that mean to you?
I mean, that's just a bunch of mumbo jumbo. Go ahead. What are you saying? He's planning on what? Sending older people to work?
No, basically saying, again, just kind of going on. I mean, paraphrasing.
So basically, what he's saying is,
if they die, going sending people back to work, obviously, and bringing it back to them and cause them to get infected. If they die, they doing it for, again, like I was talking about last night. The same thing when I make that mean about this is for God and country, sacrifice people for the greater broader so-called good of the economy. That's basically what he's saying. If these old people die because we don't have the ventilators they need or the protective care that they need, well, they're doing it to sacrifice for the overall aspect of the economy. And he's saying that these people are willing to do
it. I mean, he sounds ignorant. I mean, that's so. Not only will you be infecting older people, you're infecting everyone around you. What is he talking about? There's no barrier, like there's no force field that you can
As
put
if
up.
only old people are dying from this. And we got people that got pre-existing conditions that are young,
But that's
asthmatic
what I'm
people
saying.
that are young.
That's out the window. That only old people are dying from. That's out the window. That's gone.
Right.
That's why I said he's ignorant and uninformed.
He's willing to double down on that. And he's doubling down on it.
Well, you should just take a whole batch of that stuff and rub it on him.
And that's because now ask yourself this: where did he get that talking point from? Where is he getting that talking point from?
The White House.
All day, every day. Say it with the chest. You ain't gotta hide.
The White House for sure. The Trump administration.
Say it with your chest. You know that's where he getting that mess from. Because they hearing Trump saying it. And people like, are you serious? Like Dr. Fauci and those people already came down and said, you don't get to make the timeline when this virus ends. You ain't in control of that. Your little dogs can't stop this. This is a human intervention preventative maintenance reality where people got to be what? Adults and mature and sit their behind down, let this thing kind of, absorb itself a little bit to the degree, at least till they get some kind of aspect, some kind of medicine in place to kind of at least retard it a little bit, not necessarily cure it because there ain't no vaccines about another year from now, but retard it a little bit. But you got to sit still so you're getting that paid. And here's how, again, people always vote against their own interest because they're so stupid and gullible. And I don't mean to use that word stupid in essence to be disrespectful because I rarely use that word, but I say it in this context for this reason. Because now you're in a position here where you're getting like a paid vacation. Unfortunately, people that may have lost their job, but even in the aspect of something like that, the emotional aspect of that when companies are able to go back to work or rebuild their business or whatever the case, some of these people are going to be the first ones to get hired. Right? They're not going to hesitate hiring them because it's like, hey, I understand you went through what I went through. Hey, no worries. Hey, let's get it. I got the position ready. Let's rock. We got the small business loan. We got everything we need because the government stepped in. So in a moment like this, when it requires that level of sacrifice, if you think it all the way through, really, truly, only, I know it takes away from being who you are and all that. I get it. You can't be in the office flirting with people doing stupid stuff. I get it. If that's your thing. If that makes you who you are, then good luck with that mentality, right? Which is dumb anyway. You should be, should be being about your business. But ultimately, what I'm saying is, granted that again, we're going through this all right. Ain't nobody just secluded, and only a few people going through it. Everybody going through it. The entire planet going through it. Right? You getting it paid. More people, other people in other countries ain't even getting this. Right? Meaning in terms of what we're obviously waiting to get, which we should be owed. Some people ain't even getting that. We saw China step up. They didn't waste no time. Hong Kong stepped up, gave all their citizens, each and every one of their citizens, about $1,200 to $1,600 check off the gate. They wasted no time. They weren't politicking and all that. They cut that check instantly, gave their citizens about $1,200-$1,600. Right? You saw Italy step up and start doing something for some of its citizens. I don't know the exact value, but they stepped up and started doing something. Spain tried to do the same thing. But in this country, again, this country of all places, right? This is the caviar country, right? This is the filet mignon, the Wagyu beef country, right? That kind of reality. The decadent society.
It's only that for certain people. They sell that soap to the populace.
Right. This is a decadent society, so to speak. Best of everything. Creme de la creme. A biscuit, what Gravy Valley biscuit wheels, right? Y'all know I use that a lot, right? That kind of mentality. And you got these people here basically saying, we're going to give you a paid vacation. Unfortunately, you may not make what you was making before, but hey, at least from that aspect, you can put some food on your table. Your water ain't gonna get shut off. Your light bill ain't gonna get shut off. You can't get evicted now because they got a moratorium in place. You can't evict you. They put your student loan interest on hold. They put your mortgage payments on hold for a lot of people. Your rent on hold. They put the interest rates on a lot of other stuff, credit card, on debt. All that stuff been on hold, right? They put all that stuff pretty much at the point where you can't incur any more debt than you had before this virus took off. And again, they're gonna give you a bag to sustain you to a little bit. It ain't a lot. Yeah, I ain't making light of that. But they're gonna give you a bag to sit still for about 2 weeks. If that
now I got a question. That rent thing, supposing a person is a private landlord. You're not talking about somebody that owns apartment buildings.
Right, I mean, like you renting a room out, something like that, or to that degree, or
you renting a house. I'm just saying, people rent houses too. So
right. In my case, we got some properties in the same reality. if they are, let's say if they pay off, because the month of March was the 1 month that when it really set in, right? When people knew the March was going to be a bust. Now going into April, based upon all these new mandates that came out, right? If a person is obviously indigent or non-indigent to be able to pay, then obviously they can. If not, in terms of your collection value as far as your lender, by proxy of that, if that tenant can't pay or they need that money for other things, you also supposed to receive a moratorium, right? I mean, they gotta, you just let the lender know, hey, I'm not in a position to pay because this, that, third. Even if it's even that point, you gotta let them know. Because I'm still trying to get more, information on that, how that's working, because this is all kind of makeshift as we go. But the basic mandates that they put out there is that all those people were going to get a moratorium, suspension of the payments, this, that, and the third.
Okay.
Right. So in essence to that, again, it still frees you up and takes a lot of burden and stress off your your day-to-day, worry, so to speak. Right.
Right.
And so that's what I'm saying. In that moment, okay, 2 weeks. If it turned to 3 weeks, that's fine. If it turned a month, hey, that's what it is.
Right.
You want to risk catching it, passing it on to somebody else again, potentially causing them to lose their life, or again, you want to make that sacrifice. The sacrifice just to send somebody to work, just to say you feel like it, because you think the stock market gonna pull back and go back a little lower. That's the kind of stuff that people are making decisions on right now. Again, economy to that of human health, right? Hence, obviously, my thumbnail, right? That's why that's exactly why I chose that thumbnail, and I put those words in there for that reason. Stock market health over human health. Which one matters to you most? Right? And if you for the stock market, look, that's your opinion. Some of you guys may be for the stock market over human health, and that's fine. But ultimately, I would say, like I was saying the other day, the Nimitz game, right? The Nimitz theory, right? More equals more. The greater people who are actually really going to be afraid about this, affected by it, they are not the minority in that aspect of people saying, let's get back to work. I guarantee they're not. Because these people are really trying to work. They really, whether they feel comforted about this thing that serious or not, but they more worried about what? Their family members, their elderly population, their grandmothers, their uncles, the elderly people. They worry about them.
Right. As you should be.
As normally a human response, you would think that way. Typically, you should. But we know we're dealing with a whole lot of robots and whatever.
Right.
Yeah, so again, it's crazy, and it's crazy. What's going on, brother? Obi Brandon, sorry to see you in the back chat. What's going on, family?
Hey,
So,
family, what's happening, Brandon?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's truly crazy. Again, they're making this kind of decision. So, this guy Brian Tyler, excuse me, Cohen, I guess he's narrating Republican, Lieutenant Governor. This guy again, whatever his name, something Patrick, whatever his name. This guy went on Fox News, primetime Fox News on Carson Tucker show, right? When a lot y'all know a lot of elderly people watch, Fox. He literally telling that elderly crowd to their face, literally, hey, y'all gonna have to bite the bullet. We ain't got no ventilators for you. We ain't got no masks for you. We ain't got no gloves. Ride it out. You catch it and you die. Guess what? You're doing it for the greater good of the economy. You're giving your grandkids the ability to live in the greatest economy of all time if you sacrifice for them now. As if the stock market can't go down there, print more fake money and pump it back up regardless if the thing go away a week from now or a month or 3 months from now. This is the foolishness of these people. And the market's still up higher than it put up, of all it did in 2017 and 2018. It's still up there higher than those areas. So show me where the market really didn't suffer. This is baby boomers. No disrespect to a lot of them out there, but this is baby boomers they doubling down on their greed. These are people who, and it ain't the ones who are concerned about their safety and health. It's the ones that got money that's invested in markets that are rich and protected to a degree. Those types are doubling down on their greed. And so you're like, well, okay, well, man, but man, still, we need the economy to be fair. Okay, yeah. So I'll ask you guys: are y'all willing to sacrifice y'all grandparents for a stock ticker?
Hell no.
Hell to the no.
You willing to put grandma and granddad and your uncles, your older uncles and aunties on the front line just so you can trade Tesla?
No, for the government. they're greedy. Are you kidding me? No. They only saying that because they probably got you.
What's called money? It's called unlimited capital.
Right. They go underground. They got their bunkers and there.
You can buy a doctor and get him to do your bidding only. Only when you got that kind of paper.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
Those are the only people that would say something like crazy like that.
So it's just staggering to me when I go over this stuff and I'm looking at the market. I'm saying to myself like again I know what's happening here. I know exactly what they're doing, right? I know that stall game, right? That hurry up and wait scenario that they did as far as the bill and how they knew they had a lot of dumb slush stuff in that bill that was knowing that it wouldn't have passed on no organic circumstance because your store's fluff and you're trying to bail out people who already got money as opposed to people who actually need the money. So that stuff gonna happen. That in itself is disrespectful.
Oh, absolutely.
To taxpayers. That's the part of that you just know it's disrespectful because you know what they're doing. You know what they're trying to do in the aspect that you're so worried and trying to contain this virus and inundated with trying to worry about that they're slipping more billions and billions of dollars underneath your nose trying to make sure and send it to people who already got billions and billions of dollars. And then they turn around and blame the other person or the other party because they didn't, they're the ones holding it up. See, y'all are the ones holding it up, so blame them. Is if no one gets to proofread the bill and no one gets to proofread to make sure everything's in place like it's supposed to be, right? Because they keep telling you, touting it that it's what? It's the bill for the American people. Boeing is not the American people. Royal Cruise Line is not the American people. American Airlines is not the American people. But again, it's championed as what? America's bill, Main Street. How did Boeing become Main Street? I'll wait.
Because they say so.
Right. Because they know layman people, the lay people out there who have no clue about this stuff, they're just more focused on what, again, trying to stay healthy, protect their family, feed their family, things that, and they can care less about a Boeing or anybody who's coming. They probably even know what a Boeing is. Obviously for us, this is our what? This is our lane. Right? We see all the, the trickery. Right? The politics, right? To a degree. So again, this ain't no Alice Jones rant. This is basically dealing with common sense and consciousness. That's basically all it is. We ain't studying this market just to be ignorant about it, right? We ain't studying it just to, not realize that there's certain things that move markets, right? And then all the underlying factors that, that we have to sift through day to day from the fundamental aspect that makes us, more, again, sharper in what we do. This comes on with the business. Now when people blowing smoke, and all that kind of foolishness. Like, no, come again, bro, come again. Right, so it's funny. So that guy again, just crazy. Dan Patrick. Again, for all my Texas people, I don't know over Chris not on right now, but all y'all people out there in Texas, this is y'all lieutenant governor. Y'all lieutenant governor. Good luck with that guy.
Well, you see how Texas is. I mean,
right? It's already good old boy and crazy.
Oh boy, that place. Woo.
So
Texas.
It's showing you that these people are panicking. That's what it's really showing you. They're panicking because all these little stock dollars and wealth, which is still rich, is taking a small loss, literally at the rate of what it really, where the market really could be. We ain't dumped like 50%. We ain't dumped one of those type dumps, right? We're on the down with about 20 something now at this point, 26, 27, somewhere close to that, 22. Right. We ain't did a 50% dump. We we just went right back to where we were. Again, looking at the monthly chart here, right? We just went right back to where we were. Hold on, let me see if I can. Around let me see if I can get this thing over. I'm gonna do it on the monthly chart. We went all we did was pretty much went right back to the levels we were back in 2018. Right? Right back to that area. All right. Again, I can't pull up on this one here. Trading, they got to move crazy charts. But either way, again, so it's really no, again, massive pullback. And again, you got still this happening right here, where again you got unlimited firepower coming out of the Federal Reserve, where they're dumping large swaths of cash into the market every day, buying actual assets outright at this point. Timur telling you to your face, yeah, we're going to buy the SP 500 today. Ain't nothing you can do about it if you're trying to contrarian and trade against it.
And that's what they did.
That's part of QE. That's what QE. That's when they just go all out and tell you to your face, we're going to buy assets outright.
Yep.
We're not going to cloak it underneath the banks so they can do our dirty work for us and bidding for us. We're going to do it outright.
Right.
I think I
And
saw
so regardless
an article too that said that the dollar dropped the most that it ever has in a while, and I thought about the quantitative easing.
Right, because that's exactly what it's doing under that reality. Again, so you got a market that's exploding, and I say exploding, they're trying to get it off the lows best they can, much as they can, on a whole lot of hoping. This entire week was used as an excuse to try to ramp the markets back up. Again, I'm not for people losing money at any aspect, up or down. You know the risk if you invested in it. But technically, at any aspect of what we've been dealing with in terms of gravity of news, where there was an ever-level uncertainty, which we know sometimes, causes markets to either be at a stalemate, right? But this market would not be trading like that. Because instantly, it'll definitely been still around that range, around about 220, 230 at most. And just chopping out sideways and not trying to, keep off that $200 handle. And so, again, it breeds a false sense of what? Security. Oh, we're back. Bear market's over. Double down. Those people just double down up in here in 250, 252. And we back. We finna go all the way back to where we came from. Because again, you keep hearing people in the administration saying, guess what? When we return, the market's gonna roar. It's gonna be roaring back. It's gonna come roaring back. They use all them kind of adjectives and talking points. Oh, we just gonna roar back. Oh, they forgot we in a recession too, huh? Y'all forgot that, huh? We are in a recession at this point too, as well. Beyond the coronavirus, we are also in a recession. We're doing quantitative easing, which is the death knell to any understanding of an economy. When you get to that point, that you're in the point of desperation at this point. That means you unloading all your bullets to the point where you're showing the weakness in your economy. Because if not, you wouldn't be in this situation. Again, the coronavirus was just a pin that popped the bubble. That ain't, people already know that at this point. That's non-negotiable. The coronavirus exposed the economy. It ended the melt ups. It ended all that kind of just asset bubble inflation for stocks that didn't deserve the valuation that they were getting, with no organic growth at all, no capex expenditures, only buybacks and beating their earning per share and their earning report based upon this buying shares back. They rolled it out as long as they could in greed, and then didn't do no real work. Let me put it that way for the lay purpose out there. People might not understand what I'm saying. Companies didn't do any real work of 2019. And so now those bubbles got popped and their stock prices are obviously dumped or whatever to more reputable areas, which some of them need to even go a little lower because the market's again supposed to be able to move in natural sine waves based upon growth and deficit moments and up. That's how market's supposed, again, quote unquote, supposed to move. Right. So again, we're just in that status now where, again, you dealing with, y'all know the deal. I know I'm talking to the choir with a lot of you guys. You guys are very studious to the understanding of this stuff. Whether you long trader, short trader, obviously being both is the best because you know when to trade into strength and you know when to short into falling strength, right? And not just try to buck the trends, right? So again, this is them trying to pump this thing and use the ability of this stimulus bill as an excuse to buy this failing market up in their mind. It's failing, and it ain't really dumped nowhere than it could have been if done based upon this virus. So again, the talking points like that breeds a false sense of hope. You got, again, state politicians and officials, Dan Patrick, again, bringing that guy back up, telling you that, hey, sacrifice. Take that L, grandma. You know what I'm saying? Take that L from a granddaddy. You can hold it down. We're going to miss you. We'll fry a little chicken, right? We'll play your little favorite.
That is so Machiavellian. I mean, that is just straight. straight from that continent.
We fry a little chicken, you know what I'm saying, and play your little favorite album. You know, you sacrifice for God and country. We'll put that on your tombstone. I caught the virus for the economy. You know what I'm saying? And walk around with a t-shirt on. You know, I caught the virus for the country.
I'm weak.
I held it down, right? I held it down. It's basically what they're telling you. So again, you know, let me finish a little soundbite and we'll move on to something else. But it's Perry. So this guy here again, Brian Tyler, is narrating, you know, basically what I was just telling y'all, you know, what y'all think about what this guy was saying, as far as his Lieutenant Governor of Texas.
Come a long way from Obamacare will kill our Republicans. Yeah, tell you what, Republicans sure have come a long way from Obamacare will kill our nation's cherished seniors and we mustn't let that happen to, okay, look, we need the old people to die because the stock market is too low and we have an election coming up. In case you were wondering the lengths that Republicans would go to in their desperation to salvage the economy before the general election, it's apparently telling the nation's elderly population that they've got to be willing to succumb to a deadly virus because it's been 2 weeks and apparently the thought of going another day without walking into the Gap is just too much to bear. I mean, seriously, this is a party that only a decade ago tried desperately to scare Americans into not accepting the Affordable Care Act by claiming that our healthcare system would devolve into death panels. Their excuse to not get health coverage was that we cannot, under any circumstances, put the lives of Americans at risk. And now you have Republicans showing up on Fox News suggesting that anyone over 70 has to fall on the sword because November's right around the corner and Trump needs his stock market back. Patrick even goes so far as to say that this didn't make him noble or brave, and credit where it's due, he's right. It definitely didn't make him noble or brave, it makes him a sociopath. Now, Patrick's comments came with the apparent go-ahead order by Trump, who spent his latest press conference indicating that he's had enough of these safety measures and is basically ready to open the country back up for business.
Let's go to work. Our country wasn't built to be shut down. This is not a country that was built for this. It was not built to be shut down. We have a very active flu season, more active than most. It's looking like it's heading to 50,000 or more deaths, not cases, 50,000 deaths, which is, that's a lot. And you look at automobile accidents, which are far greater than any numbers we're talking about. That doesn't mean we're going to tell everybody no more driving of cars. So we have to do things to get our country open.
Now, a few things to keep in mind here. One, because of the existing mismanagement of the coronavirus by this administration, the United States now has the steepest curve in the world. At a time when our survival and the survival of our healthcare system literally depends on flattening the curve, we've now surpassed even China and Italy with the most cases in the shortest amount of time. And that's without the tens of thousands of tests that other countries like South Korea are administering, which means that our curve is leagues steeper than we even think. To claim that the response to the outbreak has failed in this country is the understatement of the century. But two, consider this. If we just go ahead and opened everything up and let the virus spread, people would still get sick. And so either you have companies operating at a fraction of their capacity anyway because half the office is on ventilators, or they'd be at work spreading the virus to everyone else. Our healthcare system and hospitals wouldn't have the capacity to serve all the people suddenly infected. This wouldn't be business as usual. You would have mass deaths, a virus that's free to spread across the population, and an economy that's awful anyway. This isn't some brilliant economic stimulus plan. It's a death sentence to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Americans, to our healthcare system as we know it, and to our economy. But for Republicans, this isn't about reason, it's not about science, and it certainly isn't about humanity. It is strictly about getting the stock market back up and the economy running because there's an election in November. That's what this has always been about. For weeks, Trump and other Republicans and conservative media all downplayed the severity of the pandemic. Trump invoked the word hoax and suggested that it was all akin to impeachment or the Russia investigation. GOP politicians tweeted photos of themselves out in public and bragged about how packed the restaurants were, and Fox News' opinion hosts accused the liberals of concocting yet another plot to sink Donald Trump. Why? Because they didn't want to spook the markets with November fast approaching. I mean, Trump literally opted to leave Americans stranded on a cruise ship out at sea over allowing the number of cases to go up and reflect poorly on him in an election year. And so it should come as no surprise that in their continued desperation, and I mean desperation, to prop up the economy before November, they're literally willing to dispose of America's 70 and up population if it means we recoup our losses on the Dow. And I know I'm being flippant here, but the truth is that that man, Dan Patrick, is in a position of power. And so is Donald Trump. And so are dozens or hundreds of other Republicans who would give the go-ahead and get you back on the streets the second they get the okay. And that should honestly scare the crap out of you. I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican. We should not reward people in this country whose idea of governing is killing off our grandparents because they can't manage to lose a few bucks while we fend off a pandemic that was exacerbated by that same party's own mismanagement. Dan Patrick and the rest of the GOP don't belong on television, and they certainly don't belong in any position of power. And if you care about the lives of your loved ones, you'd agree. So when I say go out and vote like your lives depend on it,
again, y'all know I'm neither Republican or Democrat. I just dealing, again, basic common sense. And from what I hear across the metric, the entire reality of this stuff, that's exactly the symbol that they're trying to present in terms of letting everybody know that it's not that much of a big deal. They kept downplaying it, and again, now the numbers again are exploding. So you have to ask yourself, what side of that coin that you sit on? Are you for the let's just rush on back out there, fire up all these little businesses, fire up all these little, fire up all this traffic and all this kind of hustle and bustle, right? With or without the virus, and chance that, or you want to kind of just play the safety role and just try to let them get a handle on the stuff for to containment, because they haven't even really enacted any kind of true measure. Matter of fact, we still got domestic travel going on right now. Planes are still flying from DC to New York to Miami. So you just, again, getting on those same planes again, and spreading that virus to other places.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So they ain't even serious even about that. They trying to squeeze every last little dollar they can, wherever they can.
When the streets are filled with people sick and dying, then that's when they're gonna try to do something. They really don't care.
So it's crazy. So again, it's not doom and gloom. It's just common sense. It's like, hey, what do you, where are you at? Where are you at in this, in this situation? See what I'm saying? In that perspective, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get people to fall into the fold of thinking that, again, you just overly, making it bigger than what it really is. Okay. So that's why they keep, again, bringing up the flu stat, right? Well, this many people die from the flu, or this many people get in car accidents every day. It's not that big of a deal. Well, how often do people get in car accidents like that we read of that easily, right? Where you could just walk by somebody and they catch a virus and they subject to die, something that deadly. As opposed to the chances of you actually being, in a car and getting or crashing and obviously losing your life from that perspective. The ease of the viral aspect of this makes it not that kind of even comparison. Yet still they're trying to use those talking points for that same reason. Again, I'm saying all that to say, I'm just saying, think it through, man. Again, because if you are the type of person you feel like you're good to go and can roll back out there and go to work, then more power to you. Protect yourself. But far as you be in a position, to really be conscious, or I would say confident that this virus is not that big of a deal, and you can stand on that. I don't see that happening, because again, you got no vaccine. You have no vaccine. Right? So, whatever, to each his own. But these are the times where you just got to say, man, this is crazy. These people, crazy. It's crazy out there. So it's weird too, because when I saw that sketch of him, I was like, man, these people, and they're gonna go after that dude for it's over. So over there on the Breakfast Club, they caught him. They caught him on the Breakfast Club. They named him the Donkey of the Day. Literally a day later, they was talking about him on the, like I said, over there on the Breakfast Club. Let's see him roll that beam footage.
Donkey of the day for Wednesday, March 25th goes to Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. Okay, Dan Patrick is a lieutenant governor in Texas. Now, if you are exhausting yourself by watching all this nonstop coverage of coronavirus like I am, then yesterday you saw celebrity in chief Donald J. Trump say he wants to have the country back open by Easter. I can't be mad at him for providing hope and optimism to the country. It does make people feel better to know that an end date is possibly in sight. But if that's not the real end date, what's the point? Okay, no need to just get back to our everyday normal routines if our health is still at risk. We can't compromise the lives of people for cash. Or can we? This country clearly favors economy over empathy. It's cash over compassion. America has a bottom line, and that bottom line is the almighty dollar. The hell with the humans that spend those almighty dollars. We can always have more of those. What Trump is doing is encouraging Americans to ignore doctors and scientists, ignore the medical experts who are saying, no, we can't just go back to business as usual because we haven't handled the real business, which is flattening the curve. But Trump don't care because he got an election to win. And his crown jewel, his main feather in his cap, his main infinity stone, and his infinity gauntlet was a booming economy. All right, people were willing to put up with all Trump's racist rhetoric, his bigotry, his misogynistic ways, as long as they were getting paid, as long as they had a job, and as long as money was in their pocket. They could care less. And Trump is hoping you will turn a blind eye again. Yeah, he wants you to turn a blind eye to the people who are sick. He wants you to turn a blind eye to the people who are dying. Okay, he wants to get these dollars circulating again in this economy. And maybe the dollars circulating again will cause you to not notice the fact that the world is literally dying all around you. Well, sadly, Donald Trump's brand of BS is clearly more contagious than the coronavirus because Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick was on Tucker Carlson last night. And he echoed Donald Trump's sentiments. In fact, he said that the elderly amongst us need to be willing to risk their lives, risk catching coronavirus, all for the sake of saving the economy. You can't make this kind of stuff up. Let's go to Fox News and Tucker Carlson for the report, please.
No one reached out to me and said, as a senior citizen, are you willing to take a chance on your survival in exchange for keeping the America that all America loves for your children and grandchildren? And if that's the exchange, I'm all in. I just think there are lots of grandparents out there in this country, like me, I have 6 grandchildren, that what we all care about and what we love more than anything are those children. I don't want the whole country to be sacrificed. We're having an economic collapse. I'm also a small businessman. I understand it. My message is that let's get back to work. Let's get back to living. Let's be smart about it. And those of us who are 70 plus, we'll take care of ourselves, but don't sacrifice the country.
Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick said, those of us who are 70 plus will take care of ourselves. Don't sacrifice the country. Don't do that. Don't ruin this great American dream. You don't want the elderly to sacrifice the country, but you have no problem with the elderly sacrificing their health or the elderly sacrificing their lives for this country's economy. Dan Patrick, that's not an American dream. That's an American nightmare. You want me to get sick and possibly die to save the economy of a country that don't give a damn about me? Okay? Some of these elders have to be saying to themselves, you want me to sacrifice my health and my life because the president I didn't vote for cares more about his ego and not looking bad in the eyes of the world because he tanked the economy because of his slow response to the coronavirus? I'm supposed to die for that? America is indeed a business. So the fact that our president, who has went bankrupt 6 times because of over-leveraged hotel and casino businesses, the fact that he's ruined the economy shouldn't come as no surprise. And if you don't want to die for that foolishness, I understand. Who would? Look, I got an easy solution for all of this. Okay, Donald Trump is 73. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick is 69. Both of them are grandfathers. They're elderly. They're senior citizens. If they feel so strongly about the old amongst us dying in order to save the economy, fine. Just make sure y'all go first. Okay, since you guys are leaders and feel so strongly about this, then die. Lead by example. And take all the old white men in government who feel the same way as y'all do with y'all. Okay, all the old white Trump supporters, you want to make America great again? Here's your chance. Sacrifice yourselves for the good of the country, okay? Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick said, we can't lose our whole country. We're having an economic collapse, and he's willing to risk dying to save it. Okay, bye. All right, what are y'all waiting on? Show us how serious it is, okay? When your economy starts to collapse, then y'all collapse right along with it. It's only right. This is your bright idea, Donald Trump. So, you already got guys like Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick ready to listen to you. So encourage the rest of your old base to go back out into the world on Easter and die, potentially. Don't encourage my grandma, grandpa, daddy, and mama to die. You go. Take the lead. A true leader would never ask you to do something that he wouldn't be willing to do himself. So, Dan, if you're really about that caca, you kick it. Then die. If you're not ready to do that, then shut the F up forever and let the experts do their job so we can find ways to flatten this curve and then fix this economy. Please let Chelsea Handler give Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick the biggest hee-haw.
Hee-haw, hee-haw. That is way too much Dan mayonnaise.
All right, Charlamagne, thank you for that donkey of the day.
Yes, indeed. Always remember, man, a real leader will never ask his followers to do something that he's not willing to do himself. And if he's not willing to do it, then he's not a real leader. Donkey of the day.
Simple as that. And I rarely listen to that, but I saw that sound by someone listening on these guys. But he actually gave a very potent, conscientious value of a soundbite to this whole reality. Listen to this again. This guy, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick of Texas, making that statement. Those statements he made on Carson Tucker, on Fox News, which was just asinine, if you ask me. Again, with them basically telling you that your grandparents should sacrifice for the economy, as if even if the market again tanked 50%, as if at some point it can never get back what it got. That's the silliness behind it. As if the stock market just instantly just goes out of business if it drops more than 50%. Right? I mean, they shut it down, put some chains on it. It can never open again. And I'm not saying even it's gonna go down even that much, but I'm just saying hypothetically it's only down like 20-something% off the high. There's other economies out there now that's down 60%, 70%. And these people crying about 20%. When the market melted up all 2019 on basically no real good news, just a whole lot of bad news became great news and good news became outstanding news. And the market just went up every single day. I ain't making this stuff up. Y'all saw it like I did. And now they crying because it's down about 20-something%. And say, Grandma, hold this L. Granddad, hold this L. So again, hey, y'all, whatever. So y'all, you guys' opinion. What do y'all think? Again, get kind of going, again, the guy Charlamagne the God, whatever, he gave a very potent speech in that regard, but a lot of this stuff is already something that y'all probably circulated in your head or thought about it at some point. Like, are y'all serious? In terms of, just these people making these kind of incendiary commentary points on live national TV to a base of old people. Because y'all know Fox is old people watch Fox like that, right? So they're like, oh man, okay, dang it, man, you want me to sacrifice my life for the economy? Wait, are y'all serious?
Yeah, it's crazy.
When we scream MAGA, we went, but we ain't mean this kind of level of MAGA. Hold up. I want to show these riches. You know what I'm saying?
They don't make it that great.
Right, you know what I'm saying? Make America great again. Hold up on that great again part. Let's hold up on that one for a moment. Yeah.
I think this. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You guys got the floor. No, you guys got the floor.
No, I think it just shows how this administration is just leading people. It doesn't have leadership itself. It's leading people down the wrong path. It just has no idea what it's doing. And it takes other people to influence the president to say, hey, all right, let's do this and see what happens. That's not how you're supposed to do it.
Right. Smart people. The real scientists. Like they say, where the real scientists stand up, the Slim Shady, where the real scientists stand up. Because you got a guy that's concerned about money trying to tell you about a viral outbreak. And you got the scientist, the expert standing right beside you and won't let him or her speak. Like this is what people reduce to people that are again, hardcore doubling down on Trump. Like, you tell him, Trump, like this is what our people been reduced. This is what this country been reduced to. I ain't making this stuff up, guys. I'm not making it up. Y'all see it just like I see it. Unless there's something wrong with my brain, I'm computing it wrong. Y'all see it, the same things I'm seeing.
Honestly, the hard part for me is for how people don't see it that way.
That's what's real scary. You right, Rob. That's what's real scary. Like, where's people conscious at this point? They lost it long time ago, apparently. So again, anytime you hear people talking that old, again, for God and country, whatever, like seriously, don't nobody own that. Don't nobody live up to that. This again, it's funny. It's funny, but it's not funny. But it's just funny. Again, they think you just that slow. I mean, apparently they think you just that slow. So again, I'm just saying, guys, you guys are the best thing you have is each other in that perspective in terms of, critical thinking people in circles who are actually putting in some real, care and thought and making decisions that's going to really help you guys out. Right. Again, it's the village mentality. The White House is not the village. I'm sorry. If you guys are the people to follow that, the White House is not the village. Right. The village is where you are in your natural community or your online communities or wherever you are, where you congregating with people that actually use their brains, as opposed to their, there's a whole lot of just BS just to have something to say, more or less. No, that's not happening. Not over here, definitely. We're gonna be critical thinkers. And so again, just looking at the SP 500 here again, just kind of getting back to the markets here. You're seeing just that. Now, all of a sudden, the volatility going out the market, here comes your melt up. Just uninhibited melt up here. Straight line. That's almost like a straight line. Right? Markets don't move like that organically. Right? So, again, doubling down on that same mentality where they want to present that false sense of narrative, so to speak, that we're back. Bear market is over. This coronavirus is getting more in check. No matter how many people are still contracting it, the level of it's again spreading it. The place that you thought it wouldn't have ever gotten into, now it's starting to hit those places. All right, and people are still defying the reality to be kind of self quarantine or just kind of shut in to kind of stop the spread of it. So all that stuff is still happening in real time. So in essence, we're kind of back to business usual anyway. Again, let those who are in a position to kind of manipulate markets and to a degree convince you anyway. Right. But again, that's just neither here nor there. Everybody can draw their own conclusion where they are in the ideal of what they feel like is necessary to function, and or what it does for your life and how you look at things. But this is something crazy. This is going to be one for the history books. When you look back and you say, man, that was something wild. And I'm saying that as investors and traders as we are, and also people who naturally look at other aspects of life in terms of cultural, social, whatever, sciences and political, all that. And we're gonna be talking about this about another 5-10 years now. Like, man, that was crazy, bro. The market was just crazy. No matter where it end up at that point, who knows where it'll be. But we know one thing, that the Feds have unlimited bullets, per Jerome Powell's words. And all this volume right here, this down here, is that retail money? I'm curious. Do y'all think this retail money right here?
Not at all.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not.
And these are 5-minute candles.
You
Yeah,
can see it bouncing off that blue line perfectly.
What is that, your 200?
No, I'm just saying this is a 5-minute chart. So these are 5-minute candles with all that liquidity packed up into one candle. You see this here?
Right. Oh yeah.
That's greed. That's some baby boomers. That's Dan Patrick and his crew.
Especially with the news that just keeps coming out, it just doesn't correlate.
Exactly. That's the point I'm trying to get us to see. So that way you don't get caught up in this. You ride it. Again, you trade the trend as always. But you again, just my opinion. Again, this is not financial advice. That's what y'all see my disclaimer down in the description box for a reason. I'm not holding this market long into the weekend. If I'm in, I'm camping. I hit MU the other day. I traded MU in the earnings, Micron, right? Got in a little bad, you know what I'm saying? Up near 45, I was in around about what 40, 41, 42, whatever. I cashed out and said, you know what, I'm good. I'm not holding MU until the weekend. And there's a couple other trades I hit like that too. I'm not holding that stuff until the weekend because I know all this is manufactured. Again, and
Right.
you hearing talking points like, you know, again, those are, you know, whether it be Dan Patrick or any others, again, that boomer mentality where, you know, they want you to, you know, again, sacrifice just for the stock market. That dumb just like that. Like, seriously?
And the people that's not even in the stock market. It's like, what?
Right. They have no clue. They definitely have no clue. Right. So as if all the macro economics have changed since, you know, like yesterday or the week before. Ain't none of that stuff changed. You still got yield inversions. You still got negative interest rates and some of the yield treasury notes. You still got all this stuff, underlying value that pretty much the economy shut down. And all that debt is tallying, meaning that bill collection value of it is tallying because they ain't wipe it all away now. Keep in mind, they made sure they tell you that they ain't finna just, you know, forgive all of it and wipe it away. They just putting it on hold, right? They still need that check, right? They still gonna need that check. They ain't doing student loan forgiveness. They're doing interest forgiveness. Interest forgiveness, not the loan itself, just the interest. Right. Same way with the mortgages. They ain't doing away with the mortgage altogether. They're just putting it on ice, moratoriums for a moment. So those bills still gonna be there.
Yeah. So when you have to go back and pay them, it's gonna be triple and double of what you were paying. Is that's what's happening?
Well, the way it's looking like, that's how it's gonna be set up. But then they're gonna have it where you're gonna do like a payment, you know, some kind of value of payment. I don't know how it's gonna go. I don't quote me on it, but just kind of think, you know, trying to think it through, where you're gonna have to, you know, pay a little extra probably on the bills until you kind of get it caught up.
That is crazy.
Exactly.
You got people already stressed. Now they got to pay more.
Right. So you can probably come out of this thing with adjustable, or with a fixed mortgage rate, but it's gonna turn to adjustable to a degree because they're gonna tell you, hey, we're gonna need a little extra.
Adjustable. That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So again, it's this is, like I said, these are, you know, some very unique times. Just being able to live through this. Again, for our history books, in terms of when we, you know, get a little elderly up in age and look back and, you know, explain this to our kids, or grandkids, you know, about this coronavirus at this level, COVID-19, and what it did, and how we saw our government respond, and this, that. I mean, those are always the conversation in any society. You know, how well the people that you elect to be your representative, you know, what are they really doing on your behalf? Are they really, you know, doing their bidding or doing your bidding the way they're supposed to? I've yet to see that happen in any aspect of this, of any of this. I might just be a pessimist, but I'm more optimistic than most people probably even think about, because I see that collectively the power is in the hand of the people, supposing how it's supposed to be, right? Incentivizing people who may not be in a position to, you know, be perched up in some kind of corporate building, this, that, and third, and showing that there's ways that they can also maximize reality in life, find ways to get money, this, that, and third too. Collectively, you're trying to cut out the middleman from your life, right? Be an entrepreneur, endeavor, whatever that comes along with that. You're just trying to cut middlemen out away from your life, right? So you can be in control of your life a little bit more than having to depend on the government. Because people who got big money, who's crying, saying they ought to go sacrifice yourself, your grandparents, you think they lost what, $1 million here, 3 million here, 2 million here, but they got millions though, millions.
Right.
You lost a $1,700 check or $1,800 check, man. That's a lifeline. That's a lifeline.
They can sell their assets, but the normal person can't, and they still don't do that.
Right. You can't sell nothing. You can't sell no brooms, no pots, no old magazines. You can't sell none of that. See what I'm saying? So it's a game they playing. So again, this greed. This greed. This that end of the day greed. See right here again. We talked about it yesterday when the stock asset pull farther away from what the moving average, chances are it's gonna do what? Roll over. So look at that extension there from the 20-day moving average here to the top of this right here. This peak up here on that resistance, obviously, which is natural resistance getting above 260. I was talking about 260 again. Remember I talked about the 260 level? What did it do? It barely got up near 260 again. You had a wick that went up above it, but you didn't have the meat of a candle went up above it. And what did it do? Roll right back down. Couldn't make this stuff up. 260. Right? And again, that extension right there let you know at this point it's going to roll over too, because that's when the greed kicked in and it just melted it up even higher than it should have. And now it's rolling back over. And this is at the 330 mark. So again, they was able to keep the market well off the lows, which was around 253, 252, enough to sustain it going into the weekend and deal with any kind of news press release you got. So every day you got to think about from this perspective, they're trying to inch it higher and higher
Right.
as a new launching point. You know, so as a new launching point to try to send it higher off a whole lot of what? Manipulation.
That's the 5 minute where that candle just dropped.
Yeah, that's 5 minutes still. It still ain't even closed yet, and it's still, you know, got some legs on it to a degree.
Right. Well, I wanted to pose a question to you, and this is mostly for the maybe newer traders. But I mean, I already know the answer. But how do you deal with market volatility, such as what we're seeing now?
As far as trading it, or just assessing it, or just
Trading it.
trading it. So yeah, so the one thing definitely is, you know, if you're in any asset, be it long or short, right? And these, you know, well, I would say in this marketplace in terms of what we're dealing with, right? Now we do know, again, when we're trying to measure volatility, all right, there's certain, you know, tickers or stocks or assets that we can look at as a somewhat of an indicator, let us know, you know, how shaky the market is, right? Or how spooked the market is, because again, the market hates uncertainty. When we say uncertainty, it hates ability where it cannot necessarily control somewhat like the narrative or how the market should move on a daily basis, based upon if everything was just, you know, peachy and rosy, and the banks were providing their aspect of liquidity and hedge funds were doing their little part, because again, the goal is that the market's always supposed to go higher. That's the narrative, right? The markets are made to go higher. That's the overall benchmark aspect of what this is all about in terms of trading and investing. But obviously when it doesn't, and you have pullbacks when the red candles show up, that's the aspect of the volatility that's most important than actually the green candles that go up. And people say, well, what do you mean by that? Meaning your market is measured in how many people are willing to get rid of it, more or less, than hold on to it. And you ask yourself, why would they want to get rid of it, right? If everything's supposed to be solid and the goal is for stocks just to go up and to the right, why would people want to sell? Well, there's a myriad of reasons why people sell, right? Some people taking a little profit along the way. Some people might be overly, you know, extended in their portfolio in terms of rebalancing their portfolios and, you know, taking money out of one stock to put it into another one, right? There's a lot of different reasons there. You know, some people just don't trust the market, obviously, right? Right? Especially when you have these kind of levels of, you know, worldly incidents and events that are causing people to be a little bit more, you know, safe and secure with their money, right? Better to pull it out and hold it as opposed to leaving it in a place like this and not knowing what's going to happen to it, right? So again, we reckon that to be, in essence, what we call volatility, right? And so when you have abnormal moments in the market where you have unforeseen volatility, obviously, you know, i.e. based on abnormal volume, right, which is a key indicator, right? So real quick, let me run over here to this. Let me see if I can do this real quick. Let me run over here to this chart. When you take, let's see, where are we at? Yep, market watch. Right, you take a scenario like when we're diagramming volume, right? So this is the SP 500, obviously S&P 500 right here, the spot, right? Obviously it's down 3.61 today. Obviously at the low is down there 250, 252, somewhere around that area, right? You look at the amount of volume there. Look at all this volume here. Now, on average, how much volume do the S&P 500 puts up, or has been putting up outside of this new coronavirus scare, right? That's like almost like a homework, you know, moment there. But now you got all this excessive volume. Again, that's 160,000 contracts, or not necessarily contract, 160,000 shares, right? That was pumped into the SP 500 today, and it still got about 20 minutes left before the bell rings. How much volume?
160 million, right?
Yeah, that's 160 million. How much does the SPY puts up on average, or have been putting up on average before this coronavirus hit?
Let me try to look.
Yeah, see, if I can go back and look at some old, you know, volume part. And that'll give you that in itself will give you
Right.
a clear indication of when we're talking about volatility. So when we say volatility or
Oh yeah,
liquidity,
this is
okay, I'm sorry.
way different. No, I pulled up the chart from like the volume since like the drop, the big drop, and it's like almost triple.
Right. Right. And there's other, again, you got the TIVIX, you got the VIX, VIX indicator. All these are just, again, volatility hedges, so to speak, against, the SP 500 or the greater broader market, the SPX, right? That shows you when you have that level of abnormality in volume, that's not necessarily a great sign, although it would be for
Right.
people who intraday trading, right? Because they get a chance to get all this new liquidity, they get easy entry and easy getting out, right? You got no problem getting in and getting out. But it's abnormal. And so now, if you are a trader with the understanding that you have a fundamental callous over your markets, obviously in this case, the coronavirus, and on top of that, recession, which obviously still getting swamped and overlooked that in this news reel because the coronavirus is taking all the precedence, you still say to yourself, okay, well, now is the time for me to be a little bit more what? Cautious, even more cautious than before. Even though we had a market that put up over 4,000 points on this week, well, we know why it put up those 4,000 on the week. What was the reason why the market was up the way it was this week? It was because of one catalyst and one catalyst only.
Well, they pumped it. They
Well,
poured money. It wasn't a natural move like that.
right. So the
keeping the market up.
The fundamental catalyst to that was the what?
That and the stimulus
The
bill.
virus.
Exactly. The stimulus bill. The stimulus bill. That check. Cut the check.
Which they're not even doing, but yeah.
Right. That check's still on ice. That check's still on ice right now. So that was the guide to use to what? Run the markets up off the lows. Again, remember the market was hovering around 220 and some change, getting ready to crack. In come the stimulus bill talk, right? The biggest government socialist bailout ever in human history, because that's the one thing that Trump could not afford to allow the market to obviously create underneath that 220, 215 handle, because after that point, it's going to be lights out down to the what? Back into the 19s and the 17s and the 18s. They did not want that to happen. So we got to do something crazy, right? Again, y'all remember I used that terminology last time I was on when the movie Avatar, where you got to do something crazy. When dude was trying to get back into the clan, right? Jake Sully was trying to get back into the clan when they kicked him out of the Navi clan or whatever the people that clan was. What did Jake Sully go and do?
You had to get that big dragon or whatever it was.
He went and got Turek Makto.
Yep.
Brother, that joker said I'm gonna have to do something crazy. That joker went and got Turek Makto and came back like bruh. That's exactly what the Trump administration had to do. They had to come back like that. And that was the only way, number one, is going to secure. Because guess what? Here's how I know it to be. Again, y'all, if y'all follow the politics, his approval rating actually went up when they started talking about stimulus bill. Before that, it was tanking. Go look it up. Go back and look at those dates. It was his approval rating was tanking. As soon as they start talking about flashing that stimulus check, we're gonna do something for Main Street. Instantly, his approval rating started going back up. Instantly, it started going back up. So you say to yourself, well, okay, that's an anomaly, right? That was a cause and effect of them searching for any and everything. Now, they had the ability to make a mandate like that weeks ago. It was already obvious that we was going to get rocked by this virus, right? It was already obvious at that point we was going to get rocked, and people were going to, lose jobs, get sick, all that kind of stuff like that. But until the severity of it really started rocking the markets, and it was getting to the point where it's going to be a point of no return, income. Let's do a little welfare for Main Street. Not that they really, again, my opinion, not that they really care about your safety and your health, because again, they're still trying to tell you right now to get back to work because they're trying to end this ability for people to sit around and collect unemployment insurance, which is now going to give you more than you would have gotten outside of this condition, a $600 extra bonus on top of that. And it's supposed to last for about 4 months. Let that marinate for a moment. So again, you know what's happening here. You know what's happening here, right? This is them pulling what they call it, some out of the trick bag, right? Or, you know, a hat trick. You know, some of you play hockey or something. This they pulling a hat trick. So again, it's not far fetched. It's not out of the norm to see that this is again, all this is more of a reason to divert people's reality or attention of everything that needs to be kind of looked at in this moment. Because when people are in panic mode, you tend to not think of all the things that you naturally would had you not been in that situation. So stuff gets slipped underneath the radar. Bills and executive orders get signed underneath your nose. Stuff like that happens. That might be detrimental to you when you come out on the end of this. You're like, when did they enact this? Yeah, man, that was done over a month ago. A month ago. Yeah, when you was too busy worrying about that virus and all this stuff, they slipped it in on the This is how this stuff works. Again, so it's hard to be in one all places at one time. I get it, but again, for us, we are in the business of what? Multitasking. We pride ourselves on how well we multitask, right? That's what a good trader, investor, that's what we're good at. You have to learn how to ingest data quickly, decipher it, and compute it and spit it back out like in seconds, literally. Because seconds can mean a matter of, again, $100, $200, $1,000, or a loss of that value if you not reading tea leaves right. So again, it really builds you up in a way where again you figure that you have a great ability to do a lot of things that you probably didn't gave yourself credit for at a point where you feel like you never needed a skill set like this. So this is all, for us, this is like, yeah, okay, rock it, run it. We got this. Right? Meaning you can't, pull in the wool over our eyes. It just pretty much that's not gonna happen. Right? It ain't gonna happen. Right? And so again, we're just in a moment now where we're having to be, again, like I said before, conscious of a lot of this stuff and not, allow people to, again, blow smoke, and tell you that it's, that it's not. Again, we know exactly what we're dealing with here. Right? We know exactly what's dealing with here. So markets, in terms, again, going back to the liquidity aspect of that, you always become a little bit more cautious in your share size in terms of how you trade. Right? You make sure you set your stop losses even more so now than you probably did before, because again, that level of uncertainty and the abnormality of volume comes with the ideal of risk that people who are trading these spikes up, they're not trusting this market enough to hold it. Excuse me. They're not owning the market enough to say, I'll sit in it, saying, obviously with major values of money and liquidity, especially over a weekend session, knowing that, something crazy could happen, something like a politician, somebody can catch a virus and die, which would be staggering to the ideal of people looking at this stuff like, it ain't that serious. Now you got a person of that magnitude dies. Well, guess what that does to the psyche of the people? They get a little bit more fearful. Then they start saying, man, this thing, because we already got people who are somewhat of a celebrity status of falling off, whether they had a few people that may not be mainstream. You got a writer, I get right there in New York, Sister Camille, that one guy that's a Broadway playwright.
He passed away.
I know I'm talking about. Yeah, he passed away from the virus. Right.
It's a lot of people.
Right.
It is a lot of people. It's like every day somebody is,
Yeah, people dying. Then some of these people are gonna be name brand people to a degree, because again, just because they got money don't mean they're immune.
Exactly.
That shows you right there that money can't stop. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Did you see that Boris Johnson just got?
Yeah, Boris. Yeah, and I was gonna talk on that too. Yeah. Go in on that if you can.
I mean, I barely just saw. I just think it's funny. I really do, because him and Trump are like, I see them as quite similar. So the fact that they're just denouncing science and the reality is finally catching up to them, that you can't just like talk this thing away. It's not how it works. I mean, you have Trump coming on press conferences and saying like, oh, we have great results with hydroxychloroquine, and then you have Dr. Fauci coming right after and saying, yeah, we can't really trust those because it wasn't a valid study and stuff like that. It's just like, you see the mess in this administration, and I feel like it's similar with the Boris Johnson administration, but I don't know as much about it.
But it's hard to think your way through enough to see what's happening here. Again, this is a prime minister. This is a person who's supposed to be, worldly brief on stuff like this, science, data, how to protect themselves and this, that, and third. And he contracts it. Again, you got Justin Trudeau. His wife catches it. Right? His wife caught it. You know what I'm saying? Prime Minister of Canada. You got Merkel, right? She was on self-quarantine because she was around people that had it. Whether she got it or she don't, whatever, they're saying that she might not have it. But who's know? Some of the people might have it and can come out at the end of it because they got better medicine up to where at least, they can't put the level of the stress on their citizen by saying they caught it, because that will always make it feel like, man. But again, Boris Johnson scenario just as worse. All right. What did that do to the psyche of the citizens over there in Europe? Dang, bro, he got it. He got that, he got that package. Yeah, he got that package, bro. He got that Rona.
You got the Rona package.
Right. So what was he doing that, put him such at harm's risk? Was he doing it for God and country, or was he just being ignorant? Yeah.
Right.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? So, because what's going on. I mean, we ain't crazy. Yeah. I mean, this ain't something that we ain't making this stuff up. We seeing it happen. Right. We're seeing it unfold in real time. Right. So it's not like it's just, again, these are one-offs. Or these people really going out their way to, make sure they do right, because you got people telling you right now, get back to work. Get back to work. Get back to work. Cracking the whip, everything. Get back to work. This country wasn't made to be shut down. Okay, what are you doing in the pandemic? You slightly pull back from that kind of level of rigmarole to isolate. You don't get to determine the virus, again, aspect of what is can do and should not do. You don't get to determine that unless you better get a vaccine up and popping. And you don't have that. So what else do you have?
Honestly, at this point, the vaccine is it's useless for this situation.
Exactly. It's not even.
So the fact that they're stressing that so much, if you any medical background, that realistically this should be gone before we even have the vaccine. I mean, it'll be good for future diseases or future coronavirus, other derivatives of the virus, but at this point, it doesn't help anything. We need to fix the situation now.
Right. The whole idea of the vaccine is a moot point, because you're talking about a year and a half away from now. So again, they're using everything they can, to try to keep people diverted away from from the reality of things. Right. Again, but we won't be, we won't be, confused about this stuff. Again, it's just in our best interest. Again, we're talking about, liquidity in the market. Just ask a question about liquidity, trading and volatility. This is why, again, when you have all this abnormality in the markets, it's even more so of a mandate that you be a little bit more even more cautious, right? In terms of your scaling, your size that you're scaling to stocks that you're trading in, right? Don't overstay your welcome, right? Make sure that you have a handle on, again, we just been talking, right? For the past, let's say 15, 20 minutes since she probably asked, about 10 minutes since she asked me that question, right?
Mm-hmm.
SP 500 was at 160 million shares traded, right? We picked up an additional 20 million out of nowhere in less than maybe about 10 minutes.
And it's all selling too.
Right. Look at all this. This is how fast it's moving. When it's moving this fast, that means something popping. Now,
it's cooking right now.
Right. That ain't just a spy. That's everything. Right. Some of these all brand stocks, some of them named World Criminal Space Game, right? Boeing, Tesla, just AGRs, whatever, PGC. There's others too. There's others too. Again, Netflix, all of them just running out fast. That's when it's moving this fast. That means a lot of what?
Selling.
Right. Whether we selling it now.
A lot of people coming in and out the market.
Right. Volatility, basically like you asked. You know what I'm saying? This is volatility right now. This is not normal on average. On average in the market.
You see the level 2 moving like that.
Right. and not just one particular stock because they're a good catalyst
All
of
of
it.
them.
Everything popping like that. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, Amazon down 49, Google down 54 today. You know, Chipotle down 31 handles today. Right?
Like
All
we
that
also said, because it's coming to the weekend. I mean, no one has faith in this market. No one has any idea what news is going to come out over the weekend. So realistically, I don't know who would want to hold their, like, especially SPY. I would not want to hold SPY over the weekend.
No, yeah, definitely not.
Right. Because they know they don't believe in this market. The same thing that again, Representative Dan Patrick or Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick trying to tell you it's for God and country and for the economy. Wall Street itself knows better. Hedge funds and people like that even know better. All that money pumped in from Tuesday to today, guess what they're doing now? Taking some of it off the table. But if it was all about God and country and the economy, guess what they'll do? They'll leave most of it in there. Let's get the market off the lows, man. This is for the economy. This is for the country. I'm willing to risk it. Risk it all. I'm going to risk it all. Now, how many of them risking it all right now? I'll wait. I'll wait. They're supposed to be risking it all now. But right now, so again, if you let people like that pump your head up with that foolishness, you'll be the ones who end up, you know what I'm saying, holding the bag, stuck holding the bag, right? Because I've yet to see these people who are claiming, again, this is for God and country or this is for the economy, all that, really show you, there's a whole lot of foolishness. They're not risking it at all. They're not risking it at all. They want you to risk it all, though.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to risk it all. They want you to risk it all because they feel like you are expendable, right? Risk it all. You know, Sister Mill, I need you to risk it all, honey. They showing
I'd
up
be like, don't hold your breath.
right. You know, it reminds me for y'all. You know, I'm always cutting up a little when I can. It remind me. Let me see. Let me find that little picture here. Right, when you can get ready to risk it all, y'all. You gonna risk it all, huh? All right, and we're gonna see if you're gonna risk it all here. It's like that picture right here. It sound looking at the market like, like you ready to risk it all. Like, boy, look at him. Put this baby down, I'll be on you like white on rice. Woo woo. I'm risk it all. Yeah, call you, call home. Tell your mama I ain't coming home. One of them. Tell your mama I ain't coming home tonight. I'm sorry. I ain't coming home. I'm out of here. That literally the parallel of the market right now. Right, risk it all. So again, for us, we don't have to sit around here trying to, again, play with ourselves. We know enough at this point. So I'm saying we know enough, right? It's just not in my best interest to act as if, we don't understand and see these things happening and how detrimental they are, right? So again, just having that conversation, like I was telling y'all, when I tell you it was manufactured and that it was going to pull. So real quick, let's run it, right? Let's run it. So again, we saw that abnormal volume again, the volatility that she asked about, right? This is your S&P 500. Does this look like confidence to you right here? Does that look like confidence to you? Does this look like confidence to you? How many minutes did it take? These are 5-minute candles, right?
30 minutes.
5, 10, 15, 20. Yep, about 30 minutes.
There's also that reversal candle at the top.
That's that long wick. You seeing it?
Mm-hmm.
Look at that wick. Shooting star. Shooting star. Straight reversal signal. And again, before we even seen that, what do we saw here? Extension away from what? The moving average. Got 2 extend away from the moving average. So that moving average acts like a what? A magnet. Does it not?
Mm-hmm.
It draws stocks to it or away from it, or when they away from it, it just draws you back to it. One way or the other. Whether you going long or going short. And depends whoever got the most strength in that particular aspect of that movement, that volatility, they obviously what? Stretches it further. So look how far it's stretched away from the 20 moving average at this point. Now it's trying to what? It's using the VWAP as the magnet. Man, we got to get back to the VWAP, man. Nothing else we have to make it back to the VWAP. You can't go out like this, man. Right.
Get on the VWAP, boy. That's a woo.
Ooh, that's yeah. Y'all already know this is what we studied this for. Some of you guys that's new, understand what the VWAP is, right? That's a very, very important indicator, right? Let me drop that. Y'all know me. Let me drop that beam footage down. And let me go to Investopedia. Drop that data off in there, right? Because it's important, right? You need to know all this stuff. You know, it's for your well-being, obviously, but just knowing that when you see these certain patterns and trends are starting to reflect on a daily basis in the market, right?
Ooh, look at that.
Right. When it popping, you see it?
Yeah, look at that candle, boy. Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
No, they wilding out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. That's some same people that
They went up there. They went up there and took out a whole bunch of stops with that one.
They're like, let me get some shorts up here.
Right. That's them people telling you to get back to work. That's exactly who it is. It's them folk. Get back to work. That long 5-minute candle, man, y'all know what they really call it, but I ain't gonna use that language, but y'all know what they call it in our sector. They call it one of them, they call it with a D. Y'all already know what I'm talking about. DIL. You put the rest on that. That's exactly what that is. That's a 5-minute candle. Look at the amount of liquidity left out that S&P 500 from that point of the VWAP all the way down here. The amount of money in that candle alone.
Right.
The amount of money in that candle alone is enough to like. Are you serious?
That is not retail.
That is not retail.
No ifs, ands about it. Retail cannot move
like that.
Price like that at all.
So would you consider that slightly weakness when you see that huge red volume bar and then like the green volume bar right next to it? It's like it's like almost there, but it doesn't get as much retracement.
Right. That's shorts covering.
Okay.
That's instantly shorts covering.
Got it.
You wrote this down, and guess what time it is at that point? It's what?
It's about to close.
350, 355, right? We out of here.
Got it. Oh, that's right. Because if they hold shorts overnight, they have to pay like money for it, right?
Well, yeah, the carrying cost, but still, they ain't no. You ain't worrying about that when you already up, you know.
Yeah.
and you got the trend in your, on your behalf, you riding that. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody, at this point, the carrying costs a lot cheaper than it used to be back in the old days. And you paying like 0.006, stuff like that now for carrying costs for each individual share.
I thought it used to be way more.
Yeah, some people give you like a package deal. Depends on who your brokerage is.
Okay.
But I know trading it is like 0.006, and you pay like it's like $1.60, and there's like 0.006 carrying cost for the hold them overnight.
Oh, okay.
Or short back. But again, but if you trade stocks that are bigger in price, that means you have less shares, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unlike if you trade a penny stock, you have to get thousands of shares.
Then it gets like a little costly.
Right. You don't really see it. That's why I'm sure them short the stocks that like Boeing or Tesla, but you literally have 80 shares and the stock could drop like 70, 80 points. You know what I'm saying? And you already up $1,500, $1,600, $1,700, $2,000, and even you held it overnight, your carrying cost is like peanuts.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you know it's going to just keep dropping.
Right. Exactly. When that trend is your friend, it's no between that. So again, in that little bit of time when we begin to speak about that in terms of the volatilities, so asking about that, just going back to the S&P 500 here, where we saw that extra boosted volume that came into the market that was just pretty much out of like gangbusters, right? Call it what it really is, like gangbusters. I just want you guys to see this here. So again, when you see this, or when you be able to know that this is a whole lot of unnatural volume. Hey, what's going on, brother? Big Boom. Big Boom came in the building. Good to see you, family. Peace, power, and profit to you, family. Yeah, holy mackerel, right? As long as we can in the world. That's them people that's telling you get back to work, getting up out the market. That's them that bag and rolling right on up out of here. Right?
Gotta go.
Right, gotta go. Wrote a song about like hit go. Right? Look at here now. When we was looking at this thing, it was at 160 million shares traded. So in the meantime, in 20, 30 minutes, you didn't put up over 40 million shares traded in the SP 500. Now, what's the normal volume? What's the normal volume of the SP 500? S&P 500. on a daily basis?
Brandon said it was 80 million.
So roughly around about 80 million,
Mhm.
67 to 80 million,
Yeah, I think so.
right? Some days you get like 40, 50 million. So that's about a what? That's about a 5-fold increase then.
Yeah,
About 3-fold.
120 million.
Yeah, about 3-fold increase, somewhere around about 3-fold. I was speaking from the folks, but yeah. But if you even use the 80 million, that's about dang near about a 3-fold, right?
Right.
So that means like even again, even Camille was asking in terms of volatility, liquidity. When you in this moment like this right here, the advantage to that is that again you have ease of entry and ease of what? Exit. Right? Look at the bids. The bids coming in still at the look at the bids. Right? Some big 68s popping up like that, 68s and 50s. You already know who that is. Right? That's the Feds. Like see them 60, 65, see that there? That 60, 65 there? Let me go over here. I'm pointing to the screen the wrong way. When you see 60 and 65, right?
Right.
That's banks or black or the dark pool or the Feds. All these 1 and 3 and 5, that's retail. That's small people or small hedge funds. But when you see 60 pop up, when you see that 60 pop up, you already know what time it is.
Right, 60, 100,000.
You know what I'm saying? You know what that
sometimes that stuff will be thousands. They just don't show all the zeros, and sometimes they hide how much is on the bid and the ask.
Right. And so again, that's why you have to have scanners. Like in our case, again, we have black box stocks, right? It's a dark pool scanner, right? It picks up all the dark pool, right? Y'all remember I showed y'all that dark pool buying liquidity the last time. Matter of fact, let's roll that beam footage. We work over there.
Could you pull that up? I haven't seen that. That's crazy. I didn't know that they could do that.
Yeah, let's run that beam footage. Y'all know we work over here. We're gonna work. Work. Right? We don't just be talking about it. We're gonna demonstrate, right? So instantly, right? This is SP 500, right? I'm finna show y'all the dark pool. I'm about to show y'all the dark pool. Y'all see my screen right now?
Yeah, we could see it.
Yeah, it's a little small. Maybe because I'm on my iPad.
Let me see if I can blow it up a little bit here. Is it a little bit better?
I can see like the general aspect of it, but
it's hard to read.
I can see I see it. Yeah, dark block. 131 million. Holy shit.
What does it say? You see right there? See that 131 block right there?
Yeah, these are crazy. I've never seen block. The dark pool orders.
This is what you don't see on level 2.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you look at when you look in a stock and you see no volume bar underneath it, and you see it spike up. Mm-hmm. You like, where that volume came from, man? This market rigged, man. This manipulated. This is what's happening behind the scenes.
Right.
This is how banks come in and play the dark pool too, and disguise and hide their money so you can't see it. It's not like filling out a 13D. An allocated amount of money going into a stock because they have to register that on the SEC. This is how they also day trade the market with swats of millions and millions and millions of dollars, and suck retail out of trends and this, that, third, and they want to just
then change direction.
Exactly, 131 million, 130, and when you see it like that, 131 million. Now, who would just be dropping 130 like that? That's kind of like computer generated. That ain't just a person coming in and saying, right now, okay. It's crazy. It's crazy, guys. It's crazy. Stop through SP 44, 43. I mean, you seeing them just, swats and swats cash coming. All this volume. If you go back to some of those stocks, you'll see exactly what it is. See right here? This 170,000 this 170,000 shares here block. That was the actual real trader or fund manager. Everything that has dark, you know what's up. You see that dark block. That's real money there going into the market. Or leaving out, because that could be a liquidation break, whatever. But either way,
just seeing that much money is being just traded so casually is insane.
Right. So right now the SP 500 is sitting at what, 252, right?
Yep, 252.79.
Look at this last dark block that came in. 407, right? 407. 251,000 shares, dark block, average price, SP 565, block 65 million at what price?
262.
But right now the price is at what? What?
252.
Stop.
So I'm confused. Are they selling at that point, or are they shorting at that point?
Some of them are, yeah.
It
Some of them
looks
are.
like they was trying to buy back.
Okay.
Right. Exactly. Yep. They curving out,
Because-
and obviously, and then some of them had positions out there that closing out. Those are those blocks coming
And
out.
what's crazy? I'm
Right.
sorry. What's crazy was when that order came through, I was looking at that on TradeNet, and you can see like this big long wick jumping all the way up to 262.
Yep. That's how you see it. That's the point I was gonna make too. So anytime y'all see them wicks just popping like that, man, what's that? What's that? That's what happened. That's either a dark block liquidating, right, or that's them obviously buying in at those prices, trying to get the market above the lows. That's exactly what it is, Overbrand. I'm happy you brought that up.
This is crazy.
I really thought that wick was a glitch or something.
I thought it was too, because I seen it like the first time, and then I was watching.
Yeah, and then it went away, right? And
I'm
then,
like, it just jumps up right when that order came in. I'm like, what the hell? That is
Yeah,
crazy.
they went up there and grabbed that money. It's like, we're getting ready to get these folks up out of here. Wow. So you want to put your stop loss right there?
And they're buying shares outright, meaning the feds. A lot of this is just Fed bids and coming out the market too. Because outside of the banks doing it, now they obviously since we on the QE4 now, they telling you outright they're gonna buy assets outright. This is them not necessarily even have to cloak it. They still can do it under the dark pool if they choose, but this is them, funneling that money in and pulling it out. So if they pull the money out, some of it is not necessarily them even shorting. They just pulling all the money out, pulling the rug from underneath retail feet, sending it back so they can turn around and do it again the next following day. After they melted the market up, at least they got the market off the what? Again, their goal is to get the market off the lows. Keep propping it up every single day. You have a higher launching pad, then you can keep building on that. Right? But again, retail and a lot of the other people, they like, man, I'm out of here, bro. Thank you for ramping it, running it up. I can sell, a little higher and make a little extra money. I'm out of here. I mean, look at those candles here. This is this 1 minute chart, obviously on this black bar, but look at this straight line. Look at this straight line. Look at this straight line.
Mm.
Look at that. That's all, bro. That's calculated selling. Calculated selling. Because typically it'll look like this here. On average, it'd be all like this, pinging and popping all over the place. This here, from here to here, that's all the millions and stuff that we were seeing on the dark pool and stuff like that. And people just, So this is the next level in terms of when you start to really take the market, through its, it's all of its, its little intricacies, so to speak, and see it in real time and know exactly what's happening when you see it. So you don't make that mistake. And then again, this big bullish candle here. So that's why, using the black bar, you can see exactly the money in this. See this candle right here that I'm hovering over here? This big long, and this is the 1 minute chart now, mind you.
Yeah.
How much volume was in that candle? This was at 3.
Like it says like 3 million or 2.195 million.
Well, that's actual shares itself. It's not even. It's right here. See the volume aspect in that. That was 219,000 shares. Excuse me. That was 2,195,216 shares in that one candle. That's a 1 minute candle that dumped that many shares. A 1 minute candle that dumped over 2 million shares. Dang near 2.2 million shares in 1 minute. Let that marinate.
That's crazy.
No, but that's them God and country folk over Brandon. That's them people saying, get back to work.
Yep.
We want the market to kind of, we're doing this to sacrifice, keep the market up. Don't let they trying to hold the market up, dumping that many shares in 1 minute. Who got a 1 minute sale order at 2.2 million shares?
Institutions.
Right. Make my money go right on back to my little quarantine and listen to all their foolishness so they can bake more people in later. Bake more people in later. And look at dark pool is still coming in. Look, See, now that's when the dark pool really get acting up after hours. Right? Look at all the dark pool orders coming in since then, back to back. Look at that, almost like on the nanosecond. On a nanosecond. Look at the 4/12/21. See, I just stayed in that 4/21 slot. That means all those shares got allocated in that at 4/12/21 mark. All those dark pool shares and some of them that got mixed in with some of the ISO shares too. All that came in one lot. One lot. 200,000 shares, 150,000 shares, 100,000 shares, 250,000 shares. Y'all see them numbers? 500,000 shares. 500,000 shares, bro. Right? So, again, and then again, you don't see this on level 2 at that level. Right? So again, this it's a lot of ways that these people find ways, and I say these people, obviously those who are in control of the markets, find ways to always trying to keep it they got control of it more than people give them credit for. Right? It's obvious for us, but a lot of people that they're like, no, you're wrong, man. That's just not no, they wouldn't do that. Okay, well, good luck. Good luck. Right? So it's crazy, man. I tell you so, but having the ability to kind of assess what's going on, you can kind of see when markets are trending and they turn throughout the middle of the day. You kind of see what's happening. You're like, okay, I know what's going on now. That's a dark block. The dark block. Right? See right here, it said dollar volume met right here. People start. That's when the early beginning of the morning there, when they began to set the it gave an alert pretty much on SP 500, obviously under this black on the black box, right? All those metrics obviously met the criteria at that point, that 254.74 point launching point, and the market just from that point just do like it always does. It responds and it goes where it goes. Let me see if I can put. Oh, it's not gonna do it on the 2-day chart. I was gonna show you just. Let me go back to the 1 day. All right, so let me see here. All right, it gave that alert at this one from the following day, I believe. Oh, yeah, that's a long alert. Yeah, that's like a 2-day alert. The market trended around that 254. That being a major level. I was talking about that the other day, actually. A major, launching point. Them trying to get the market on the 260, and then obviously it pulled back, and then same thing happened today. They did that yesterday into the futures market, where SP 500 got a little bang out yesterday, and it went up there and tested at 261. It got rejected on it because again, market opened up. We saw the futures market trading last night. It was pulling back, obviously. It did it during the intraday. It ramped sideways throughout the after-hour session, squeezed back up to that same level, and then it dumped today, obviously. And then during intraday today, it did the same thing, went right back up to that 260 level, tried to test it again, and the market did what? Rejected it. Meaning who? Wall Street and those hedge, they like, nope, I'm selling into that, bro. I'm selling into that. The algos, I'm selling into that. So again, there's always ways to break down what you're seeing in a way where you're not being confused about whether people are confident about this market or they're not, in a way where you at least protect yourself, right, and your money, right? But you definitely got unlimited ease of access in and out. There's no denying that, right? There's no denying that, right? There's no denying that. Right. So it's crazy when you pull that up, see that. But yeah, so having that ability to catch that or to capture those stocks like that, or those buying points and those moments like that, is priceless. Right? It's priceless. So Boeing definitely has a lot of dark pool buying. Tesla's another one that gets dark pool buying a lot sometimes. You can just go in there and see like this, people coming in on that stock, those institutions hiding their hand trying to get into those stocks to ramp them up, get them off the lows or whatever the case like that. Especially at the point when they're starting to downtrend really bad, that income with a large, again, bag of cash and get the stock up off that, off that point of support from cracking. And they hide their hand and do it that way. there's a lot that come along with it, you know. But once you can put it in again, put it all into a, you know, its perspective, then yeah, you'll be fine. You'll definitely be fine. Again, but it's more so about the journey and learning than just trusting the idea that, you know, you can try to, you know, just try to gamble your way through it, right? 'Cause this pretty much this is what this isn't. This is not gambling, right? It has all the nuances of what it would probably seem like it would be, but it's not. It's really being calculated in what you're doing, right? It's about being calculated, calculating the risk and all the things like that. All right, so just real quick, the after hour session, and we got a few. The shippers jumped up and started running today. I don't know if y'all saw that, but around when they start getting close to signing that bill, somehow the shippers jumped up and started running like Tops, GLBS. You know, y'all know about not Tops, but Dries, all the old school shipping companies.
Mm-hmm. The
Oh man,
classics.
yeah, the classics. Them not talking about them. What they call the band of bandits. That's what them
That
shippers.
was a crazy time.
Yeah, that's them. Man, that's the lollipop kids. I like to call them. That's them crazy ones. Tops was up today, about 260% up near the peak. Look at here, just looking at it right here. You guys see my screen here.
Bro, that volume.
Just
I
came out
just
of
looked
nowhere.
at the daily chart and the volume on it is crazy.
Yeah, look, 359 million shares. Near 360 million shares traded out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere.
I know it says the average for the last 30 bars is 6.5 mil. So
Right.
that's so like insanely more.
Right. That candle there, 230 million. 2 million shares traded in this one here, and then 2.9 million shares traded. I mean, large swaths of volume just pouring in. You know what I'm saying? Just this crazy amount of volume. 360 million shares traded, coming all the way from the point where it was trading at like 8 cents a share. This thing, keep in mind, this thing was at around about 7-8 cents a share, and it peaked up here around 31-32 cents a share. Are y'all kidding me? Right? So again, for some of my people out here that are still new to this, talking about you don't have the money to learn how to do this, well, there's your pennies on the dollar right there. You could have bought one share for 7 cents and made, you know, dang near 300% off that one little penny or that little 7 cents. So you would end up walking away with what what that would have gave you. What's 300% of 7 cents?
Is that 28 cents? Like 21 cents profit, right?
Yeah, somewhere around, yeah.
So total 28 cents at the end.
Right. So 7 cents would have turned to about 28 cents. You would have, you know, that was your tax on your little soda or whatever. It's crazy though. You know what I'm saying? You throw a zero behind that thing. You know what I'm saying? It just, you know, you just do the math from there.
And you're right. Like, I mean, like you said, it just respects a line. In this case, it looks like it respected like the VWAP for most of the day, and then it comes down. Or no, wait, what is that? Is that the 9 EMA? Yeah, I just like kept bouncing off like the 9 EMA the whole day.
This one here, yeah, that's the
Oh, you have the 20, right?
20.
I was looking on my on
yours, yeah.
Yeah, I was looking on TOS.
Yep. But yeah, I can imagine what it look like. The 9, you're right. The 9.
Actually, no, you're right. The 20 is even like respected even more in this case. It would just bounce right off of it. And you're right. As soon as it crossed under, that's when it dropped a pretty healthy amount.
Right. Yeah. Extension. There we go again.
And that's when and then that's when it dropped down to the VWAP, and then it bounced off of that. Okay, I see what you're talking about now.
Yeah, the extension. Anytime you see that massive extension like that there, it always snaps back. That magnet kick in. It's like they cut the machine on magnet time. Poof, right? Pull it back. So if you have any idea of when you want to sell into a volatility spike, like I know Sister Camille was asking that question, how to trade that, case in point, trust your indicators. That level of separation, if you already kind of bought in on the breach, meaning you bought the crossover of an indicator going over, a lesser going over a bigger, right? After that point, you know it's game on, right? You know it's game on at that point. You know what I'm saying? So Now it's like you just trust that indicator. You stay in the trend. You stay in the trade until it tells you what, get out. And that in this point again, separation from that what, a notable indicator is a key indication that what now the stock has been hitting some fatigue. It's stressed out a little bit, and then you can easily roll over. And that's also then you can take it more intricate when you start going into the actual candles themselves, the reversal candles. That instant tells you, okay, here's your your reversal point. So yeah, again, it's just all just again, just being again a student of the game. Again, you got tops kind of moving up here a little bit after I got back over the 20 moving average, and also the 50. We'll see if it runs into the into next week, whatever this this was all about. But it definitely got up off them lows around about 7 cents a share. That is crazy. These shippers will run too. It ain't even shipping season yet. So they running early for whatever reason. But we are in unusual circumstance right now because shippers typically run around the fall of the year.
Yeah, like November, October-ish, right?
Yeah, yep, exactly. You own it. Yep. So they running early now because again, unusual circumstances. There is a need for shipping companies, and with all this stuff being halted, there's a lot of products and goods and services that got to go back out at some point. So that might be some mandates in them bills that may help them out from false provisions. Who knows? I haven't even looked at the news on why it was running today, but I'm pretty sure there's something like that somewhere tied into it. Something of that nature dealing with this coronavirus, where they could be useful. Obviously, the shipping industry. Right? So oil a little bit. This HUSA, that's an oil play. Again, you got a lot of the stuff mixed in there. It's all over the place, but definitely on watch going into next week. These shippers, a lot of these different shippers out there, definitely watch those rig. These little spider little oil plays. Definitely gonna be watching those. So it might have been something dealing with the oil market. I see some of the oil plays up after hours too. So, which also helps shipping industry in some cases. They got to ship it around, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something you can just piece it together. Just whether you know it or don't, you can just piece it together just by using your natural knowledge. And that's how you learn this stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So it ain't again. It's not far at you guys' wheelhouse to be able to kind of just do just that. Right.
It definitely starts to come together. See, that's like what I always like to do. I think I told you this earlier, but like I like how you connect everything because that's how I like to understand. Because you already know in these situations that there's an underlying meaning for why something moves more or less, besides like algorithms.
Right. Exactly. 100% right. Right. So again, it ain't far fetched. To kind of really be able to put kind of put two and two together naturally, natural observation,
Mm-hmm.
and so you can kind of get a decent understanding of what's happening. Right. So, but yeah, so we're gonna keep our eyes on it. We got like I said, a few of them to watch because again, I always typically watch some of the after hour runners, and kind of seeing where they are. If they have any legs going into the following week, then we'll kind of see what how that pretty much checks out. Because it's important. Again, that's how you just trying to stay on. You're trying to keep up with everything that's happening around you, like everybody else. Like everybody's trying to make sense of this, right? And assets that were popping at the point where they had the consistency of being highly, propped up. They're not, they're pretty much not the breadwinners anymore. They're not the, the apple of the market's eye. Well, there's others that are that's still holding on. Again, like Apple. Apple ain't really dumping like everything else still. It's still trying to hang around that 250 level. It refused to go really too far away from that 250 level. So it's the closest back to its, its sell-off point than most of the stocks out there that have taken a beating. And there's others out there too, but a lot others have lost a lot more. Again, Boeing, Tesla, and again, Boeing, Tesla was at 968 and $1,000. And pull all the way back to like 360 something, 370 something. And bounced a little bit, but it's still under pressure. Right? It's still under a lot of pressure. Beyond Meat, catching downgrades, it's dumping. It's all the way down to $66 a share. Beyond Meat, it seemed like it was never crossed on below 100 at some point. Now it's back down there. Yeah,
I was shocked too, but it makes sense. I mean, like I feel like a lot of their like income comes from like fast food places and restaurants and stuff like that, but all of them are closed now.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Well, not only that, just the idea that grocery store, because they sell the grocery store chains too, but still, that distribution lane chain has been disrupted. And
Okay.
you just came out the gate too. I mean, they just IPO'd May of 2019, right? They just IPO'd. I mean, it
Yeah.
went skyrocket. It went.
They weren't ready for this.
Yeah, it went 45 all the way up to like 200. It went to the moon. It did that. But but ultimately it's like shut. Right now in a scenario like this, they don't have the luxury to have any of their business being disrupted, especially they new in terms of the public markets. You need that that access, excuse me, to a degree, for growth value. And so now it's like without that happening, you're in trouble. Right. So Beyond Meat all the way back down to $66 here. Right. And then again, when it was before, it just would not really even break that much further from 70 to 80 at the point after it came down from off the real true parabolic move. So again, that's this market we did. We come like space. Space was like $6, like $5 or $6 a share. About a few months ago, somewhere around there. Then it went all the way up to land $40 some a share, just on the hype of sending people to space, like crazy. Right? They dropped their earnings report. Turned out they only had $500,000 in sales, but had a market cap in the billions. They turned one sale, literally. They turned like one sale. One person decided to pay them $500,000 to go to the moon or Mars or wherever they're trying to go. I don't know where they're trying to go. But they would trade at near $30, $40 a share from $6. That kind of stuff. Them kind of bubbles. What's going on, Oba Chris? Good to see you in the house, family. Hey, what's going on, brother? Sunline in the house. Good to see you, Oba. Good to see you, Oba. Zane Montego in the house. Good to see you guys. Peace, power, and prop to everyone. Checking in here. We kind of just, on the back end of this little bill here, just kind of looking at this old crazy nutty market as always. It's never, what they say, a wild day in wacko land and dealing with this market.
That's right.
Yeah. So all this abnormal volume and and again wild movements in the market as a whole. Stocks just ramping up and gapping up on on bologna sandwiches and beliefs that ain't got nothing to do with reality. So it's just like yeah, it's crazy out there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So for us again, it's just incumbent of us to be on our game, right? Our goal is to be on our game, right? And not get sucked into this old, again, get back to work theory. While they selling into the market, they selling into the strength and telling you to get back to work. But they want you to tell me that they're trying to save the stock market, right? We're trying to save the economy, right? And guess what? Look at here, we out of there. We were out of here.
Yeah, they took that money and ran.
Like out of there, right?
And now they got it going sideways.
Right, which is also yeah. So for us again, we're not about to get caught up.
Definitely not.
I missed every day.
Say again, family.
I said I missed every day.
In Texas.
We went in a little bit
about your lieutenant governor.
I can't really hear what she said.
We were talking about y'all lieutenant governor down in Texas, Dan Patrick, that made that statement about telling old people to pretty much old people to the meat grinder, and they should be willing to die for the country to save the economy.
Wow.
I don't know if you saw. Did you ever see that sound bite that they
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, man. That Jackie came on live TV too on Fox and pretty much told all the elderly people, y'all should be willing to die for the economy.
Wow.
So we don't care if you don't have
grandkids.
Right. It shouldn't matter if you can't get ventilators and masks and all that. You should be willing to take one for the team right now. Because the economy.
No, I haven't seen that. That's crazy.
Right there in the state of Texas.
Dr. No one reached out.
Let's roll that bean footage since brother just came in the building. Y'all know we do some replays around here sometimes, so we roll that beautiful bean footage. I can't show the video, but we'll do the sound. You know how to be tripping on YouTube.
Yeah, state of Texas.
Yeah, the great old state. The true bull state. To be honest, Texas, the bull state. All the beef at. That's where all the bulls at.
Yeah.
Bulls at.
They all laying on their side, boo.
Yeah,
that is a fact.
Yeah. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick country will collapse if we shut down for more than 3 months. Now, I don't. Again, I'm no economist. I'm a shade tree economist in my own right, like a lot of us. But just based upon what we have witnessed in terms of the stock market, right, and how they melted the market over the past 2 years, 2.5 years, if the economy shuts down for at least 3 months to deal with this virus, do y'all? I'm asking y'all again. Whether you might be for or against, I want your opinion. Do y'all think this economy really gonna collapse?
No.
No.
No,
Do
not
y'all
at
think
all.
the way that this country operates, we'll be able to pick back up? You know, may not be where we was before, but we will still get back to a point where we can function.
Yeah, all that money
Right.
they got, come on. It's like it's crazy.
Yeah,
And they
they
print money. As
Most definitely.
Americans. They just, they print
they
money.
full of shit.
They
Call it
sure
like you
are.
see
Yep. It is what it is.
it. So
Mhm.
the same way they're telling you not to be out there using fear tactics, in terms of making people be a little bit more aware about how they feel about this virus and keep from contracting this, that, the third. They're using the same fear tactics that if you don't get back to work, you're gonna collapse the economy. So your health ain't more important than that. And, bro, now who benefit of the stock market? Little Tyrone in the hood? I think not. Somebody
No way.
that's 20
No
years
way.
at the job that's that's got on a pension and got a union that's working grinding hard to try to feed their family, at least try to put a child through college. Are they really benefiting out the stock market?
Nope.
So it's people like this guy, this Dan Patrick guy, and Trump and all of that ilk. Again, whether you for them or not, again, y'all know I'm no political party, so you ain't got to worry about trying to come at me. I don't care about none of them, right? It's just straight narrow that you need to be very conscious about how you run your own life. You don't need a government to tell you what and when not to do. They're there for a purpose of serving you, but apparently they didn't flip that script a long time ago. They got you in the mindset that you got to serve them. Hence his talking points telling you that you got to be willing to sacrifice for the greater good of the country. Like, are you stupid? Like, who does that? Like, where they do that at? Like, throw your grandmother in the meat grinder. Throw your granddad in the meat grinder. It'll be all right. It'll come out like a nice little beef patty. And that's basically how they're telling us. So, again, let's roll that bean footage real fast. Let's roll that bean footage.
Tucker, no one reached out to me and said, as a senior citizen, are you willing to take a chance on your survival in exchange for keeping the America that all America loves for your children and grandchildren? And if that's the exchange, I'm all in. And that doesn't make me simple or brave or anything like that. I just think there are lots of grandparents out there in this country, like me. I have 6 grandchildren, that what we all care about and what we love more than anything are those children. And I want to, live smart and see through this, but I don't want the whole country to be sacrificed. And that's what I see. I've talked to hundreds of people, Tucker, and just in the last week, and making calls all the time. And everyone says pretty much the same thing, that we can't lose our whole country. We're having an economic collapse. I'm also a small businessman. I understand it. And I talk with business people all the time, Tucker. And my heart is lifted tonight by what I heard the president say, because we can do more than one thing at a time. We can do 2 things. So, my message is that let's get back to work. Let's get back to living. Let's be smart about it. And those of us who are 70 plus, we'll take care of ourselves, but don't sacrifice the country. Don't do that. Don't ruin.
So you're basically saying that this disease could take your life, but that's not the scariest thing to you. There's something that would be worse than dying.
Yeah.
Tell you what, Republicans sure have come a long way from Obamacare will kill our nation's cherished seniors and we mustn't let that happen to, okay, look, we need the old people to die because the stock market is too low and we have an election coming up. In case you were wondering the lengths that Republicans would go to in their desperation to salvage the economy before the general election, it's apparently telling the nation's elderly population that they've got to be willing to succumb to a deadly virus because it's been 2 weeks and apparently the thought of going another day without walking into the gap is just too much to bear. I mean, seriously, this is a party that only a decade ago tried desperately to scare Americans into not accepting the Affordable Care Act by claiming that our healthcare system would devolve into death panels. Their excuse to not get health coverage was that we cannot, under any circumstances, put the lives of Americans at risk. And now you have Republicans showing up on Fox News suggesting that anyone over 70 has to fall on the sword because November's right around the corner and Trump needs his stock market back. Patrick even goes so far as to say that this didn't make him noble or brave, and credit where it's due, he's right. It definitely didn't make him noble or brave, it makes him a sociopath. Now, Patrick's comments came with the apparent go-ahead order by Trump, who spent his latest press conference indicating that he's had enough of these safety measures and is basically ready to open the country back up for business.
Let's go to work. Our country wasn't built to be shut down. This is not a country that was built for this. It was not built to be shut down. We have a very active flu season, more active than most. It's looking like it's heading to 50,000 or more deaths, not cases, 50,000 deaths, which is, that's a lot. And you look at automobile accidents, which are far greater than any numbers we're talking about. That doesn't mean we're going to tell everybody no more driving of cars. So we have to do things to get our country open.
Now, a few things to keep in mind here. One, because of the existing mismanagement of the coronavirus by this administration, the United States now has the steepest curve in the world. At a time when our survival and the survival of our healthcare system literally depend on flattening the curve, we've now surpassed even China and Italy with the most cases in the shortest amount of time. And that's without the tens of thousands of tests that other countries like South Korea are administering, which means that our curve is leagues steeper than we even think. To claim that the response to the outbreak has failed in this country is the understatement of the century. But two, consider this. If we just go ahead and opened everything up and let the virus spread, people would still get sick. And so either you have companies operating at a fraction of their capacity anyway because half the office is on ventilators, or they'd be at work spreading the virus to everyone else. Our healthcare system and hospitals wouldn't have the capacity to serve all the people suddenly infected. This wouldn't be business as usual. You would have mass deaths, a virus that's free to spread across the population, and an economy that's awful anyway. This isn't some brilliant economic stimulus plan. It's a death sentence to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Americans, to our healthcare system as we know it, and to our economy. But for Republicans, this isn't about reason, it's not about science, and it certainly isn't about humanity. It is strictly about getting the stock market back up and the economy running because there's an election in November. That's what this has always been about. For weeks, Trump and other Republicans and conservative media all downplay the severity of the pandemic. Trump invoked the word hoax and suggested that it was all akin to impeachment or the Russia investigation. GOP politicians tweeted photos of themselves out in public and bragged about how packed the restaurants were, and Fox News' opinion hosts accused the liberals of concocting yet another plot to sink Donald Trump. Why? Because they didn't want to spook the markets with November fast approaching. I mean, Trump literally opted to leave Americans stranded on a cruise ship out at sea over allowing the number of cases to go up and reflect poorly on him in an election year. And so it should come as no surprise that in their continued desperation, and I mean desperation, to prop up the economy before November, they're literally willing to dispose of America's 70 and up population if it means we recoup our losses on the Dow. And I know I'm being flippant here, but the truth is that that man, Dan Patrick, is in a position of power. And so is Donald Trump. And so are dozens or hundreds of other Republicans who would give the go-ahead and get you back on the streets the second they get the okay. And that should honestly scare the crap out of you. I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican. We should not reward people in this country whose idea of governing is killing off our grandparents because they can't manage to lose a few bucks while we fend off a pandemic that was exacerbated by that same party's own mismanagement. Dan Patrick and the rest of the GOP don't belong on television, and they certainly don't belong in any position of power. And if you care about the lives of your loved ones, you'd agree. So when I say go out and vote like your lives depend on it this November, that is in no way an exaggeration.
So again, that was your buddy Dan Patrick, good old state of Texas. Go big or go home.
Crazy.
You know, telling this senior citizen to get back in those sweatshops. You know what I'm saying? Get it in.
Crazy.
So again, this is why it's just comical, because you know exactly and then we saw how the market just again put up over 4,000 points this week on just the hyperbole of a stimulus bill. again, they're trying to find anything they can have an excuse to what? To pump the market up as if this virus is going to be going away within the next week or two. So back to business as usual. Melting up the market on what? Nothing. Inflating the bubbles again. So all these greedy boomers, like that guy, Dan Patrick, that guy, can die, with a casket full of what? Wrapped up $100 C notes.
Right.
They're trying to pull a Matt Shucks, a tut move. Matter of fact, they're trying to, load the sarcophagus up with the D's of the house and the stacks of cash. I don't know what's going on. They don't care about, again, all that debt that's been occurring in terms of young folk. They're already saying, hey, whatever. But again, we make a lot of it to a degree, but that's staggering. That to me, that's staggering. It's not staggering because I know what I'm dealing with, but again, these people are just maniacal.
Yeah.
Throw your grandmother, off the train. Y'all remember that movie, throw your grandma off the train or something like that?
Right.
Somebody, boy, throw right on off that joker. So, but yeah, that's interesting. Over Chris, they're down there in Texas, man. So y'all know, come election time, man, y'all got Dan Patrick. Hey, grandparents, hey, we sorry for you.
Yeah, we gotta get them up out of there quick.
Man, I hope they take the heat and go and get after him too. Because again, we're going to a election cycle. I don't know if he up for come off that with the Lieutenant Governor block come November. Yeah, he got. But these people again, they're desperate. When people are desperate, they show their true hand.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we need to take away from all this. They're showing their true hands now.
Very true. Sorry, he gonna get enough backlash. I mean, even white Texans, they not having that. Texas is a liberal state, so him saying that, he done put himself in some deep water. So
yeah, it's gonna be crazy. You know what I'm saying? To watch all this stuff unfold into the election cycle and see like all these people that they obviously putting the magnifying glass on with this whole stimulus bill package and all this stuff, how they've been reacting based upon this coronavirus. Again, they always like to say that American people are the most shallow-minded people. That's the excuse they use to kind of practice benign neglect. They'll forget about it. They'll just have a fake outrage for now, then they'll forget about it. Well, one thing I would say this again, we are in an election cycle, and a lot of this stuff is fresh and it's devastating. And that's actually not dealing with the value of this coronavirus in terms of what it has really done to people's everyday free civil liberties to a degree. So they're not gonna just forget that. Right? It's not gonna be a thing where you're like, man, I remember I was sitting in the house, for 2 or 3 weeks, if not longer, and what that was like, trying to get some money, money from the government and just get to the grocery store, and then you're like, man, this joker here blocking, this politician blocking, and they holding this up. These people ain't just gonna play this one down and forget this kind of stuff, right? So these dudes better be watching, watching every aspect they little scenarios, because again, this ain't no 3 years away or 2 years away from the next election where people might forget about it. This is fresh going into that, riding into that sunset. So they can easily be dethroned and kicked to the side and everything else. So I just found that interesting when I heard that. I was like, man, who is this guy? Who is this, this,
This guy.
Right. This little dust mite, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, yeah, man, it's just crazy. So again, that's that, they was able to perform enough of, again, being able to get the markets off the lows again. This is the entire week here. They melted the market up like crazy. The entire week, you can see right here on this little daily chart here, obviously throughout the week, how they was able to again accomplish the ideal of trying to save the market. Because again, this was that spiral out of control level here. If it eclipsed that 217 with strength, we instantly going to see some spiral out of control. So even in a bear market, you have what? Bullish pops. That's not unusual. And so again, it's no secret that I'm more bear postured at this point than average because how are you not bear postured after you see this here? Like you see this kind of sell-off, you ain't just saying, oh, I'm just bullish. I'm even more. Yeah, the long-term prospect, yeah, but I mean, coronavirus is not just going away tomorrow. So, I don't have a false sense of hope that the market just going to turn around and rebound, even back up near toward the VWAP.
It kind of did the same thing during the first drop. If you like zoom out one more time, it dropped, had that small little pullback, and then dropped. It looks exactly the same, just a little bigger with more extended candles.
Exactly. That's because what? The Feds unloaded the bazooka.
Yep.
Trillions of dollars going into the market. Trillions. And then guess what Wall Street was doing? Selling into it. They were selling into that trade. Like, yep. Yeah, thank you.
The liquidity they were asking for.
Exactly. Exactly. Right, so again, it's just crazy, man. But again, we studied to be approved. And so again, just like you said, just look at again, past performance is a predictor of future potentiality or future profit. The same thing you see here, and you see this little snapback here, and then after we losing the VWAP here, which puts us in no man's land, right here in that same perspective, didn't even make it back to the 20-day moving average on that daily weekly scenario. It fell short even getting back up that far. It showed massive fatigue again up there near that, that 262, 263. A lot of that came obviously during the future market, not even during intraday sessions. And if it did, it got rejected several times up in those points around 260, and then it pulled back. So again, if you're just looking at this, I mean, look at this nasty wick here. Right? Look at that nasty wick there. 240, 241 in that perspective. So the market is just, again, just be cautious, guys. Be cautious, right? Because we know it's more than what they're saying. So, but yeah, that was funny. So yeah, your brother, old dude Charlemagne over Chris, he went in on Dan Patrick. He made donkey today. I don't know if you saw that either, but yeah, they put him out there on blast on the Breakfast Club. Yeah, he made that donkey today real. Especially, I mean, with that kind of sound bite, I mean, he's more than the donkey. He is definitely more than the donkey. So yeah, so that's about what we're dealing with at this point. And again, we just got to make sure we stay on top of the data, stay on top of the numbers. I mean, the news reels are coming out like hotcakes. I mean, every 2-3 minutes there's some kind of news reel, right? We know the media has been overran with a lot of coronavirus news and a lot of stuff dealing with again the overall economy as a whole. So they can't even do their little nasty little twists and spins like they used to, because it's too it's too saturated with trying to keep up with all this virus stuff, which is they should be doing anyway. Real journalism, because people's lives are definitely affected by it. So again, there's just massive sell off there. Just shows you that people are just like whatever. we don't trust this market like that.
Abandon ship, and like as soon as they got their dollars.
All the way back to where they ain't there open up today. Open up, matter of fact, lower than where it opened up. Open up around what, 253, 240, somewhere around there, and closed lower than that after going all the way up to like 260 and some change, and just gave all those gains back. Now the bill was signed. We know that the bill was signed around by 2 o'clock, somewhere around at 2:30, 2:40. It was officially signed by the House of Representatives. The market melted up off of it. So that was their strength to say, hey, we got the bill, we want it, right? The market should be stable now. Let's kind of push a little higher, right? Everybody wanted that stimulus check. Well, why they sell off the market then? I'm just saying, why they sell off then? Why they sold the market off? Don't nobody believe in that, that mess they selling over there at 1600 Pennsylvania Street. They don't want them oranges and apples off their cart. That's them raggedy. That's them old raggedy bean pies. Nobody want that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta come with them better ingredients, like Papa John's. Better pizza, better ingredients, whatever. Papa John's, whatever. Nobody ain't buying it. People ain't buying it.
And then Pence came on CNBC today, like asking the people who work hard every day, like, hey, can you donate some N95 masks to your local hospital? Like, come on, man.
Oh, he's tripping.
I've actually seen them do that like at every press conference. They keep asking
Yeah,
us to,
Trump is attacking the governors
yeah, like
states for asking for a request for medical supplies.
I told you, I'm telling you that Camille the other day, he was going at Cuomo. Cuomo
yeah,
needs,
he roasts Como every day, but like look in New York, it's
yeah,
literally there.
yeah. That's why I say he's been doing that. That's his playbook.
Well, today they got he's doing some. He's going at everybody.
Yeah, that's his playbook. They getting stressed now. They getting stressed.
Yeah, definitely.
Very granular way. I think recognizing that the health of the American people.
All right, I'm gonna get up out of here.
All right, Eva, Camille, thank you for stopping through, sisters. Always, we always appreciate you.
Later, it's
Thank
always
you
a
so
pleasure.
much. Appreciate you to the utmost. But hey, if you go on later on, I'll hop on.
Yeah, I may end up. I'm getting ready to make a quick little move too, real fast, and then again, maybe we can come back on a little later, just kind of break down the week and the day a little bit and this, all that stuff. But you know, kind of wrap it up a little bit, going into the weekend.
Okay.
All right,
Good
sis.
night, everyone.
Bye.
Over Sun Lion.
All right.
Over Chris. What's your name?
Rahul.
Daoud.
Raul with an R. Raul.
Yeah. Sorry, I mumble hello. I'm
Rahul,
sorry.
right. Raul. All right, brother Raul.
It's always a pleasure. Stay safe out there.
All right, you too. You and
Thank
your
you.
family. All right, Oba, I'll check you later.
All right, sis. I'll hit you up.
Peace.
Peace, family.
Peace, sister.
We got hit by the invisible enemy, and we got hit hard. But it wasn't just us; it was 151 countries, I think, as of this morning. And you call Germany and speak to Angela; she's in quarantine, and as you know, Boris was diagnosed and he's positive. And all of the things that are happening, it's hard to believe what's gone on just in a short period of time. And because of the talent behind me and lots of other talent in government, what we've done, this is a big part of it, obviously, but not the biggest part. Everybody's pulled together. Our nation's pulled together. The spirit is incredible. The people have pulled together more than anyone and better than anybody, and they're doing really, really well. But just to think how life can change, where you go 20 to 22 days ago, everything's perfect. We're looking forward. I'm saying, when are we going to hit 30,000? I want 30,000. That means more jobs and more everything.
See?
And then one day we get hit with this thing that nobody ever heard of before. Nobody ever even heard of before. And now we're fighting a different battle. But I really think in a fairly short period of time, because of what they've done and what everyone's done, I really think we're going to be stronger than ever. And we'll be protected from a lot of this. A lot of the things, Anthony, that we've done now, that we're doing now, are going to protect us in the future. This should happen again. From testing to so many other, even
y'all did none of that.
Right?
Y'all did none of that.
Vaccines, hopefully.
Y'all did none of that.
Didn't do that and got rid of the pandemic response team.
Right, they did none of that.
And I think on that store, I think we're making a lot of
They
progress.
actually helped make the problem worse.
A lot of progress on cures and therapeutics. We'll be letting you know. Anybody else have anything? Greg, please go ahead, folks.
I would just say I've never seen you shy away from a challenge. Your leadership, your policy.
Look at them brown noses. Listen to them. Listen to them brown noses.
Insane.
Listen to them brown noses.
This bill is the next step in that, and we can build back this economy with your leadership and with the healthcare team you've got here too. We're doing the right thing for the American people. They know that. I can tell you that.
Listen to it.
It's not easy. We don't want to shelter in place as Americans. We want to be out, especially in the Northwest.
Listen to them.
We know we have to do this for the safety of
They brought him in for that same reason to make that talking point.
So thanks for your leadership and a great team you've assembled.
Appreciate it very much.
On behalf of small businesses, they're the backbone of the American
I
economy.
just don't understand who can actually believe this shit.
Hurting out there right now. I'm from Ohio. I'm the ranking member of the House Small Business Committee. And back there, non-essential small businesses are shut down. Without this legislation, it's questionable whether they would reopen. Because of this legislation, they now have a great chance of that. And those people that work for small businesses that are shuttered out will be paid. That's really important. This wouldn't have passed without your leadership, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Eric worked so hard. You all know Eric. And he was at Steve's side the whole way. And we're where's our man? Do I see Larry? Yeah, Larry, the two of them. How about Eric and then Larry say a couple of words? And
well, thank you very much, Mr. President. I really appreciate it, and Mr. Vice President as well. So you encourage your team to be bold, be brave, and go big. And we certainly delivered today. $6.2 trillion is tremendous. So we've made sure that we can reassure Americans that their paycheck is protected and that their earnings are protected. We've made sure that we can provide significant reinforcement to the American economy as a result of your leadership. And finally, looking ahead to address the virus, we've included significant resources in order to ensure that those therapies and ultimately that vaccine can come online as quickly as possible. So protecting the public health and protecting the economic health of America is what you've directed us to do. And together with the team, we worked hard to deliver today. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Steve is going to work very hard at getting the money out quickly, and hopefully it can be distributed very quickly, especially when they have some old computer equipment that they have to use. But you're going to work on that very hard. Larry, please. Larry.
Oh, thanks, sir. Just hats off to Mitch McConnell. Did an amazing job. And House leadership as well. And I agree with the bipartisanship. I must give special thanks to my friend Stephen Mnuchin, who I think did an extraordinary job. We were up there helping him out in one spot or another, but he's indefatigable. He got it done. And I'll just say this, Mr. President. A few months ago, this economy was roaring. And we've hit this, literally this bug, this virus, and we will deal with it. And I think the assistance bill here, which does have growth incentives, will help lead us back to a very strong economic rebound before this year is over.
I think that too. I think we're going to have a tremendous rebound at the end of the year.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
Rebound like we have never seen before.
Here it comes.
We have a tremendous amount of quantitative easing there for retail operations.
Yep, here it comes.
Had those really big, I guess the biggest ever stock market.
Here it comes.
2 days ago, and yesterday was right. 3 biggest days of the history of the stock market. It wants to rebound so badly.
Here it comes.
We have to get rid of the bug. We have to get rid of the virus. Now I'm going to sign this, and wait on $6.2 trillion. I've never signed anything with a T on it. I don't know if I can handle this one, Mitch. We can't chicken out of this one. I don't think so. Huh? All right. Thank you all.
Now the headline says 2 trillion. The bill is 6.2 trillion.
But I wanted that to be a nice signature. Come on over here, Elaine. What a job she's doing with transportation.
6.2 trillion.
You always talk about the supply chain.
I do.
It's really important. This bill is going to help the supply chain.
But when people ask for health care for everyone, they can't do that.
Thanks, Tony, very much. Thank you. Thank you, Ray. Appreciate it. Bob Lighthurst, thank you very much. Bob was a little less involved in this. He's too busy making trade deals. Okay, and if you have one, you definitely have to. Thank you, everybody. So we're going to have a 5:30 news conference in the same location. Seems to be doing quite well. And we appreciate everything. And we really appreciate the fairness, at least from most of the press. We really do.
Here it comes.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Here it comes.
There was a rare moment of agreement today between you and Senator Kerry over this issue with Massey. Can you expand a bit on that?
Well, he made a little joke about a man named Congressman Massey. I thought he was totally out of line, Congressman Massey. Because of that, I guess a lot of people had to come back. And they had to go into a place which, frankly, we're not supposed to. In light of what we're doing with Deborah and Tony and all of the professionals. So people had to come back, and just no reason for it. So John Kerry made a little joke out of it, and I agreed with his joke. And I said I never knew we had that kind of a personality, but we actually put it up, and he was right. Okay, we'll see you in a couple of minutes, folks. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Good job.
So that's that again. Like I said, they was gonna make a spectacle of it, which I knew they was, and he did just that. And they're gonna talk about it more obviously when they do the press conference for the coronavirus updates, like they typically do with that briefing around about 5:30. So again, anything they could do to make it political, to act as if they are the reason why things are happening. Meaning any kind of benefit to the degree where you're having to receive your own money back from people who holding the hostage, but rather give it to a stock market than put it in your hands. So again, good luck with good luck with that. Good luck with that. So again, we'll see how long it takes for them to actually get that money in your guys' hands. That's the next hang up, right? Because now the computers are gonna be old. You already hear him make excuses about the computers are old now. All of a sudden now we got old computers, but we're just the best country on the planet though, right? We got Cisco, Intel, and all these companies like that, and Cyrus, and all these little it's endless. All this computing power and fast and technology, AI, but we got old computers when it comes to sending them checks out though. It's the computer fault. Y'all supposed to got them checks 2 weeks ago, but we have a problem with the computers glitching. Get back to work. You don't need unemployment now because you're going back to work. Okay, so again, this is going to be very interesting. But yeah, so anyway, I am going to take a moratorium, pause my own self here, handle a little business here, and hopefully I'll get a chance to come back on here in the later hour, a little bit after 7, 8, go about 8ish, 9 maybe. So if you guys are still around at that point, got nothing really on your plate, you want to build a little bit, we'll get after it, right? We'll kind of up the end and pull out some news articles, kind of stay up abreast on where everything that's happening and has happened at this point. Again, even with the signing of that bill from the president, we still see the S&P 500 where down on the lows. So even after all the hoopla and the manipulation running the market, which he touted and bragged about so effortlessly, like it was just like we had that already planned, ramp it up. So now it was a sell the news event. But again, people are not ready to get back to this market because he was like, it's roaring back. People want to run it up. People want to get back in. Well, why are they selling then? Why did they sell it off then? Why did we see the sell off then if they was ready to get back in and run it back up? So again, you already know it's talking points, but it's funny when you hear it and you're like, man, this is some old comical mess here. This is some old right out the right out of the comic book. Couldn't make this stuff up. So, but anyway, that's that. So that's it, guys. Like I said, I'm gonna shut down here temporarily and to try to come back on a little bit later on so we can build a little bit. Again, I wish you guys a great evening here, or what part of the evening that we are in, wherever we're at, in our little respective places around the world, the globe, or states, whatever. So until the next time, right, we come live from Bunch. I am because we are, and I look forward to building with you guys again shortly later on this evening sometime, if not definitely this weekend.
Thank you as always.
Thank you as well, Brother Robert. Thank you also, Open Brandon.
Thank you, sir.
Anytime, family. And everybody in the back chat, Brother T. Gavin's obviously, Open Sunline, everybody that came through today, Brother CG3, Brother Eddie. Eddie came through today. And everybody else that might have couldn't talk, Brother Big Boom came through. Over Gordon Gecko came through today. Again, just the whole family here. Stopped through. Brother Jacob stopped by today. Sister Eve, Camille, obviously, Over Chris came through. Family, everything monetizable came through today. Brother Jaleel Henry came through today, and like I said, many others that weren't able to type. My brother Rakim 777 came through today. So again, I thank you guys as always. So humble by that. All right, again. So yeah, we'll meet back up a little later, guys. So definitely enjoy your evening. Have fun, stay safe, keep that hand sanitized, keep the mask on. If you don't, make your makeshift one, right? Do what you gotta do. Make sure you get it in.
Stay strapped.
That's it. That's
hand sanitizer,
That's what it says. Stay strapped. That's it. All right, guys. We'll meet back up later, guys.
Later. Have a good evening.
All right, later, everyone. Later.